G'day and welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute Joe today. Algared, how you doing, mate?
It's been a week. As I know it's been for you as well.
That is an understatement.
The last 30 minutes was certainly proof of the joys of updates.
I wanted to hug you, kill you, strangle you, bury you, all in about half an hour.
Yeah. He'd have a problem. I'd say, is it this? And he'd say, no.
Shut up!
Oh, maybe it is that. Oh, maybe it was that. Hang on. So, yeah. It had been another week. I will say, look, for those people who are still concerned about the issues with Execute's Discord account, yes, it is still compromised. If the Execute character on Discord does message you, ignore it. It is compromised. We will let you know on a video when it's all sorted. However, Patreon is secure. YouTube is secure. So if you are one of our subscribers or Patreons, rest assured that is still secure and safe and all the rest of it. It's just our Discord that has been...
Well, just my Discord.
Yeah, just your Discord and that being compromised, but that has had an impact on our on the channel, in that the Execute character just keeps messaging people and doing stuff. So, but yeah, just to let you know that.
It was really funny to try and see him message my brother though the other day.
Yeah.
And my brother trolled him really hard. Lots of stuff about Turkish people and small tiny things, and it made him really mad. But it was a small pleasure to see.
Yep.
We're having teething issues today, obviously, too, because I am now essentially on a new PC because I've reformatted. And so I had to turn everything on like it was the first time it was turning on, and I'm having teething issues talking between the two computers.
The screens don't want to work.
Yeah, and then I had to log, as I was streaming, I had to turn on YouTube, then I had to log back into Twitch and then turn Twitch on. So that was why we had a long startup today and stuff like that.
And then the camera mic started working, and
so
you name it, all the little problems just kept. Yeah, but we're here.
All right, so we should be kind of back to what we're used to there. So
starting the bot is /start, isn't it?
I haven't turned it on yet, and I can do it myself.
Okay, I'll let you do it then. And here's a question of truth for those who were asking earlier. Is the bot working, or are we using the other one? We believe it's working, but we'll find out shortly.
Wait, what? Today at 8:04. Oh. I think Piggles was running bot tests.
He was running bot tests, by the look at it.
Okay, bot should be up and running now.
It's starting, so it should pick up all those questions.
Okay. Yeah, because we had to move its server and everything like that. So me and Algared are actually on what will possibly become the new Inforunners server, if we can't get the old one back in a timely manner. And that's the whole reason I haven't closed it or nuked it or anything like that, because I'm still hopeful of somehow getting it back. I've exhausted all avenues myself, but there are 2 or 3 people that tell me they've got contacts at Discord that they're going to try and go through. So I'm going to give them like another week, and then if it doesn't happen, I'm just going to just nuke it, and we'll essentially move on. But yeah, I'm really disappointed in Discord support. They don't actually read a single email. It's all automated and all bots. There is just no people there at all.
That's what it certainly felt like.
No, it is. Like, I've done it on 3 different accounts now. They do not read a single email. They don't read anything. Like, the titles don't matter. None of the stuff matters. So basically what happened, long story short, for those that aren't aware of how it works, is he basically contacted me and wanted me to check out a game demo for one of his students. Now, I used to do that. I used to actually... I did a little bit of assistant teaching on the side as I was leaving games development. So I thought it's not uncommon for people to reach out like that to me. And I thought, yeah, sure, I'll have a look at it. It essentially looked legit, looked like this because it had a website set up and all this stuff. You go there, you download it, and it essentially cloned all the certificates on my PC, so he was able to get into things like my email. He was able to add himself as a friend on Steam. He was like, it was almost like he was a magician, right? But as soon as I logged any of those services out, so there are multiple services where you can go in and go log out all devices. You can do that. And now Google does it really well. Amazon does it really well, because as soon as they detected someone in another country was using it and it wasn't from my country, they just instantly logged them out, right? But Discord doesn't do that. And Discord's so stupid that allows these people to copy your backup authentication codes. And so once they have your backup authentication codes, they can use that to remove the two-factor authentication. And then obviously they just put their own two-factor authentication on it. And then they reset your password because they have access to your email, and you can't get in. You're done. You're out. And then what he proceeded to do was spam Discord support with emails from me until they just blocked that email. And so now I can't actually get Discord support to get him off my account. And when I contact them on other accounts, they go, this email does not match the username that you're talking about, in an automated response from a robot. And then they basically, and if they are human, then they're not even reading the messages then, if they are human. And basically I'm just in this loop, and I've reached out. Yeah, I've reached out on Twitter, X, Facebook, Reddit. There's even a Discord group called Discord app on Reddit, and it's run by volunteers. They don't even have contacts at Discord. So I don't think there are any humans at Discord.
There you go.
I won't be re-getting my Nitro subscription, put it that way, that I had to get because of basically I had so many Star Citizen servers. I've gone over the 100 server limit. So of which now I don't want any.
It certainly does not feel that Nitro is worth, what you pay for.
Yeah, you think you'd get a little bit of extra help when you're supporting them, but no, not to be.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
It goes back to, who was saying that the game industry support network suck and it was not up to speed and you needed to change it. Oh yes, that was Sandy talking to Chris and the other gamers about Star Citizen support.
So I think we'll start out with more of a high note then. Let's do what you're going to be interested in talking about. Let's start out with this while the questions kind of come in. So I got the express joy of showing this to Algared last night and watching him, you could hear the cogs turning as he was figuring it out. He's going, oh, it's Krieger! Which was quite a small joy for me to hear him talk like a schoolgirl. But yeah,
we saw the clip. I'd been watching it and kept turning it off because the introductions went forever.
Yeah,
and some of the questions in the introduction were okay, like having the guy say what their background was, but
it literally took him half an hour until he talked about information. So yeah, it's pretty slow.
One thing I did find frustrating was the absolute youth and total lack of cultural awareness of some of the backers, of some of these guys, and it's just because they're so young. So they didn't get a lot of those classic sci-fi references, Buck Rogers or.
Oh, they'll learn. They'll learn.
So.
Yeah. This video, by the way, is very what do you call it? Like from the top, they all kind of look the same, but when you kind of go along here, they change quite a lot. So I think if you really want to kind of visualize these ships, you really do need to look into the 3D view quite a lot. I don't hate any of them, to be honest. I think they are all, Jared says in the video, was the first thing I thought was they all look like Naboo starfighters. And I like them all for different reasons. I think at the end of the day, what they'll probably do is they'll go through and take cool bits off certain ships and probably amalgamate them all together. And I was showing you one of the Naboo fighters. This one here, C, is a dead ringer for one, but the wings are chopped off. And the engine's probably a little bit, there's no engine at the back. But yeah, if you swap those two things, it's a dead ringer of Princess Amidala's ship after she becomes not the princess. But yeah, it's it's really interesting.
So to hit one of the questions that we did get, because a couple of them are related to this very topic. The first is from Benjamin Frick, who says, "Execute. Did you enjoy Al's happy dance at the new Kruger concept?"
He didn't dance. He just talked like a school. Oh my God, he just went out a couple of vocals. Yeah.
So I was rather enthused and happy to see that. Although there were other things that I think got me more of a happy dance and excited than this, but this was certainly something that really got me going.
You'll have to reach out to Benoit on Twitter.
I wonder, because when we talked to Ben and John, my question was, where is the Kruger ship? And they said, well, Benoit's, Benoit's got on the case as well, so.
I wonder if in the video, one of the Jacob, the guy that was doing these, he actually said there was a person from inside the company essentially was trying to say, don't stuff this up.
I wonder if it was Benoit.
Yeah, that was my first thought. I was like, I wonder if that was Benoit.
That was my thought.
Don't stuff this up or
you screw this up, boy. I'm after
so
you.
dead.
But I like when they were talking about the 1950s style. My initial reaction when I first heard it was, that doesn't ring to me as being precision and perfection. But when I watched it a second and third time, I picked up. He said that he liked the idea of this perfection of detail where everything seamlessly locks away and you can't see anything, and that ties in with Kruger's motto, which is basically perfection in I think it's perfection in every piece or something like that, or every item. So their idea is they're going to every piece that they make, every component they do is perfect.
So one thing I did want to talk about was he does talk about putting the circle motif into the tail of A, right? And if you look at there, you can see the one next to Algared with the little. It's actually got the little circle from above. The only ship that has that is G. And I actually kind of think it doesn't need to be in every Kruger ship. But I'm going to be honest. I always thought the nose at the front and that circle were and kind of the integrated gun. I thought that was very unique to this ship. But now you move it away into a bigger ship, you start to think, well, what are those core things, and you break them down, and they are very Nubian when you start to look at them. Like they do kind of add up. They are the same, 1920s to 1950s car styles, and
very, very Buck Rodri and very
It's those older sci-fis, like, put it this way, if you did make a UFO, I actually think it would come from these guys, believe it or not, because of their lineage, so to speak. But
well, the thing with Kruger is that their key role, they were too small to get into the boom of shipping. So what they did is they made themselves really specialist at building components, and so because they would often not only meet the contract but actually do it under budget, and their pieces and their components and triggers and other things were such high precision, they got a really big name. And so when one of their execs said, look, we make all the parts, we just don't make the gun, they decided they'd make the Tiger Strike rotary cannon. And when they put it out on the market, it didn't sell because the public didn't know who this company was. The industry knew, but the public didn't. So they leveraged, they actually did a deal with Aegis where they said, look, we'll give you a deal on our components if you swap out the gun you've got on your Avenger and put the Tiger Strike on. And it was once the Tiger Strike went on to Avenger and the Avenger was selling, at least in the lore, the public went, wow, this is an awesome gun. And then they took off. When they came to building their P-52, wanting to build a ship using the same type of thinking, rather than building it, they went straight to RSI and said, look, we'll build a snob fighter for your constellation. And that's
well, let me ask you this.
P-52 came about.
Let me ask you this then, Algared, because the feeling I'm getting from these guys is they are up there kind of with Origin. and RSI as in the luxury type of brand. Now, if they're making a light fighter, this is like a 325A type of thing.
It's not that they're not luxury per se.
But they feel it, like, you know, that classic car type of analogy. That's what I'm trying to lean into. You know, the guy that wears the cap and he drives his like 1928 Jaguar, and there's no roof type of thing, and he goes on the. That's what I'm talking about. It's that more Sunday drive touring type of thing. But these guys building a combat ship, that's not what. Well, I know they've got the Merlin, right? But like leaning into it being another combat manufacturer was not what I was kind of expecting from a more classic car.
Yeah, but you're thinking of it in terms of this is the company that builds classic cars. You've got to think of it in terms of this is the company that starts building precision parts. So they're renowned for precise detail to all their parts. And so the idea of going the classic car routine is that all the joins are seamless. There's no. I saw a news report on the Tesla.
Yeah,
the Tesla's supposed to be perfect, and there were gaps, and the people were being told gaffer tape it up. That wouldn't be what these guys do. Every part is perfect. Every part is precise.
Yeah, which again is in that kind of almost BMW, you know, German engine, German efficiency, you know, that type of thing, which leans into that origin BMW type thing.
I will just draw attention to the Kruger Intergalactic name, which is kind of that Germanesque. I think originally they even had the German spelling of it.
Really weird dance I've got in my head now. Kruger Intergalactic, yeah, man.
But that whole precision idea, that whole every part is precise and perfect. Look, based on their law and their history of being precise, building precise parts and doing orders like that and doing it under budget, I wouldn't be surprised if, and I would expect Hurston Dynamics to actually use them a lot. And the reason I'd say that is Hurston Dynamics, even though they are known as being this evil company with bad worker relations, they pride themselves on the quality of their items. And so if this company already makes absolute precision pieces and does it under budget, that just fits with what the Hurstons would be after. So I fully expect we'd find Kruger parts in Hurston weapons and platforms, but that's mere speculation on Old Man Hurston's part.
All right, so what I actually want to talk about now is what actually blew my mind that I also got to show you last night. It was the thing that I actually led with, right? And
before you do that, there is another question we did have.
Totally killed the hype, but okay, go ahead.
Which was related to that, and it was socially confused. Was
why would you let them read it when I can talk about it?
Yeah. Because
if it's about it, then let me announce it. Then let me announce it before you read it.
No, it's nothing to do. It's to do with the Kruger stuff.
Okay, go ahead then. Go ahead.
So stop trying to, and just let me finish. He says, most important question for the day, Algared, which Kruger fighter design is your favorite? And I would have to say, I think A, and I think A because it actually, to me, feels like it's the next progression up from the P-52-72. So that's me, but as you were saying, I don't mind most of my. Probably B is my least favorite because to me that looks or feels too much like a Cutlass.
If I had to say mine, it would probably be C followed by A. But like I was saying earlier, they're probably going to take bits of the best bits of them and kind of merge them together. I think the real takeaway for me that I am now leaning into, that I'm really looking forward to, is how they're all back driven.
Yeah,
like most fighters are all at the front. They're all the same. They've got no difference in feel, and that's one of the big things that me and Algared go into. When you've played the game as long as I do, we have, I will deliberately, hey, you need to go fly the ship. It just feels different, type of thing.
Yep.
And we'll deliberately go out like the Gladiator that we do, right?
Yep.
Because it just feels different from everything else.
It's clunky and chunky and like the Caterpillar and you know, the Caterpillar, it's way at the back and it's so long and off center.
Yeah. Nice segue, by the way. Nice segue. Yeah, I see what you did there.
Well, I wasn't trying to, but yeah.
Yeah, we're about to talk about.
You can continue.
So what actually blew my mind was the Caterpillar doors now go down to the floor. We can't show you guys because it's in Evocati, but Algared's in Evocati and I'm in Evocati, so I streamed it to him in a private session and said, "Look at this," and all of them come
my
down.
voice went up like half a dozen octaves. Yeah.
Because it's just been so long since anything was done on that thing, and it's like the Caterpillar is an original Kickstarter ship, so we're talking like something that's taken close to, it'd be 14 years now, type of thing to visualize that. It's not fully there. Like there are things that don't work properly, like you can't clip the boxes onto the elevator and then have them go up and then load them in. So obviously at some point the door's got to stop at the midpoint. There's little things that they could work out. I've been running it through in my head how they could do it. And I actually think they probably do need to make some changes to how the ship works to actually improve it. But there are some problems, like because of the way the ship parks into the bays, where the tractor beams are located on the ship are very bad for unloading and loading into the loading docks. You kind of more likely need a tractor beam at the front of the ships than at the back. So there's going to be teething issues with it.
There are certain areas where from a ship's tractor beams you couldn't see inside. The other thing is, as when we're talking about it, we're talking about the magnetic plates on the doors for the cargo. But I actually don't think you need magnetic plates on those doors.
Not magnetic plates, just they have to snap to the door so they can ride the elevators up.
But they just need to be able to ride up the elevator, so it's not a cargo grid.
Yeah.
Because the cargo grid's inside, so you'd offload it and put it inside, and then you're just using it for the ease of loading and offloading. But that was magic. That blew my mind. I got to admit, that was probably more magical than a Kruger ship, even though that was something I have.
So you remember the parking sensors up the front, all the problems, because people thought they were guns back in the day and they just made them things. Now I actually reckon you should make them the tractor beams, and they turn to the right and they're arms that the tractor beams sit on. So you can use them from the front. That would be quite funny.
If they work if they can reach it to the
Well, again, if the sensor arms go out so far, when you turn them sideways, they would actually then give you enough distance to go down the side, and you could use those as the tractor beams because they would reach into the loading bay. And you'd only need it on the one side, ironically. But there are some now more issues that have come to light once you start using that ship, but it's really cool to see. I also think the next step, my first thought was like, oh shit, I've got to go try this on the Carrack. And I did talk with Waffle Insanity, who was also on the same server as me, and he tested it as well, and he couldn't get it to work either. So the Carracks don't come down to the floor yet, but obviously that's a ship that I would retroactively go back and do it. So I can see they're now starting to work on things. Like from the start of the year, it was this whole quality of life thing. That is a huge step forward for me. Like such a small thing that we've wanted for such a long time, and when I just like seeing an animation sounds like it's stupid, but when you've kind of been waiting to see it for over a decade, it is kind of like, it just was like, wow, that looks awesome. Because it's like, and to put it in perspective, every door is an elevator. So that ship now has more elevators than any other ship. That's like, what, I'd have to do the math. 1, 2, there's 10 elevators. There's 10 elevators.
8, 9, 10.
That's insane.
Yep. Now, and that also goes back to a time when the ship was originally envisaged as those 4 components in it could be shrunk.
Yeah.
So you could have 4, 3, 2, 1. But they just said, no, it's going to be 4.
C Daddy from CIG's in Twitch, and he's technically correct. The pods need to be lowered, not as a lift. He is technically correct.
Talking about the Carrack, not the...
So he is technically correct. It is different now I think about it. He is totally correct. So thank you for telling me that. I do appreciate it. And go have a cigar, by the way. C Daddy. I don't know if you saw the Twitch post, but yeah. Well, not the Twitch post, the X post. But yeah. Anyway.
But so that was real. That was exciting. That was and people have to understand that the one reason why the Caterpillar's doors and elevators didn't work is there was too many conflicts in terms. Initially it was a code issue that they had to sort out. So that says they've actually cracked that code issue, that blocker for that to happen. So that's a massive advanced, and as you said, huge quality of life aspect. I'm going to quickly jump in and do Flameboo O's question. Is it safe to talk to your account on Discord Execute? No.
No, it is not.
Do not interact with the Execute account on Discord at all.
Yeah, if you have any pull, I don't know if you're still here, C-Data, but if you've got any pull at Discord, I am having a lot of trouble getting through to get my account back. This is the thing that really annoys us. It's been flagged now, so when people it talks to people, it literally says this account has been reported as stolen, blah blah blah. It even says the server's compromised, but Discord support are doing nothing. It's been reported by hundreds of people, and they've done nothing.
Yep.
It's like they're just sitting there waiting for me to contact them, but then I contact them, I'm blocked. So the idiocy continues. So it is what it is. Hang on, I have to log in on Twitch on the chat to be able to talk to C Daddy, but and talk to other people obviously as well. But yeah, this has been the nightmare that continues. 497981. That's my authenticator code, and oh yeah, we're in. Okay.
Yep.
Now I can reply, and I can use emojis.
Yes, and as someone said in the Twitch, yes, the cat can now basically easily carry a vehicle, which is true. Which is, again, it's just a huge quality of life for that ship. I think. Well,
that's the other thing, Algared. Like, it's really built around 28 SCU containers, you see, and having the 2 elevators. That's a test I'm going to have to go do on the weekend. Can you put a 28 SCU container on the elevator? Bring the elevator up. Well, obviously it's going to fall over, but you get my point, right? I need to see if it's the right width, because they literally go from one side of the ship to the other, and you can put 3 of them in each cargo hold. But if they don't fit on the elevator properly, you see where I'm going with this? So they've either got to extend the elevator. My first thought, wouldn't it be really cool if the bottom floor came across and went down as an elevator? And you could just say, I want the floor to go over and down as an elevator to the left or the right.
Well, I would gather that would be
more work.
Sorry.
That's all right. Well, because I also said to you, wouldn't it be really cool if the floors of the elevator had the cargo grids, and so when the boxes went up, they kind of, the boxes were on the wall and they got turned into the ship, and so it was actually the walls that held them, so it would kind of make it like an internal hull C. And you said to me that
and I said that to me does not feel like Drake, in that Drake's design is usually less technical.
You are technically correct as well.
That's going highly technical, or going more technical, and so I would say it doesn't fit.
Let's be honest though, that probably is the most technical ship they have.
It is.
So maybe it was something they tried and it failed, so they didn't do it again.
So if I tried it and it failed, then you'd have to have, sometimes, you've got to, if it's on the door, sometimes the magnetic plates drop and all the cargo just drops down and
I'm just real quick. So there are still people trying to get in contact with people, like Ender's trying to get a hold of people at Discord. I know Space is trying to get a hold of people at Discord, and I've heard that there are a couple of people at CIG trying as well, but I haven't heard anything back yet. If you do want to contact me, I'll put this in chat, right? So this is my alternative. I got to sign in to be able to put into that one. Can you put it in Google for me? Just while I'm logging in on Google, because this is the problem with everything being new. I've got to, couldn't find what? Because there's no S. That's why. I hate doing shit like that. I hate
when you insert letter.
Yeah, I hate doing shit like this.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to show password because I stuffed it up. There we go. Oh, we had to change all the passwords. That was a lot of fun too, wasn't it? Algared can't get into half the shit now because I had to put 2 things for authenticators on everything. So yep.
And some of those were because I said, "What do we have?"
Yes. Right, so now
So-
I enter that, but now I can't type because it's behind there. Oh, great.
There you go. Hashtag save execute Discord.
Yeah. Oh, I've
You're gonna
did you manage to paste that in? Just the Manacle Mind one, so people can contact me if they want to.
have the Manacle Mind. Yep.
Yep. So that's an old alternative I made a really, really long time ago. And he actually tried to steal that as well and failed because I was on to him by that point. And I didn't even really prepare my computer very much. I just reformatted because I knew he could see what I was doing. And so I just did it, and he had no idea what was going on. So why can't I talk in there? The little thing's gone. You know where you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't put it in there. I'm gonna have to get you to do it for me. Oh shit! What did I do? There we go. All right. There we go. Right. And yeah, I don't know why it won't let me do that. Right. Okay, so we managed to get the Heartseeker away this morning to Suburticus. So we've still got the Paladin to give away. Do you want to do that this week, or do you want to do it next week?
So, yeah, look, I think we'll do it next week. I'm happy to give people an extra week.
Okay.
To go to the tier list video, leave a comment, and be in the running to win the Paladin.
Yeah. All right. I think the only other thing I can do, report it to the police. I don't think Australian police could do diddly shit to people in San Francisco with Discord, personally. But maybe you could report it to the USA if you live in San Francisco. But yeah, it's just it's just one of those things. Big tech giants. So I wanted to do a different type of giveaway for our next giveaway, right? And I talked to Algared about this, and what I know it's a placeholder, right? But I thought, wonder if we could actually do something that kind of helps CIG and at least gives them some ideas. So when you go to the load screen now on live and on the PTU, you'll notice that it's got this down on the bottom right hand corner. It's got these two little circular bar things that spin. It doesn't do this loading thing anymore that it used to do. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep, that's kind of does a circle, kind of like our spinning Inforunner in the middle there.
Yeah, kind of a little bit something like that, right? So what I thought was if you could design, and you don't have to kind of animate it yourself. Obviously, if it looks animated, that'll be more impressive. But how would you go about? And maybe we can talk to Dafty Digit about animating some peoples that don't animate, or find some people in the community that can animate the best ones, and we could possibly put them on Twitter and at CIG, and we've also got the people we can contact at CIG to basically put them out. Hey, nice to see you there, Dufty Digit, by the way. I didn't see you there. But yeah, but long story short, like an animated loading screen logo. What would you envision that being? Now, I'll tell you what I saw, and I said this to Algared, and I don't know if you've had any ideas since I brought it up with you, but it was the Star Citizen logo. It's naturally got those, you know, like a geo. What did I put it up yesterday, so I'm bringing it up again.
A geosynchronous
gyroscope,
with
gyroscope
type thing. Yep.
So it's like one of these things. I have to bring everyone over so they can see what we're talking about. But it was one of these things, and you know how they kind of spin. So you could actually have the Star Citizen logo. If I also bring that up, you can see the discs in it. So it naturally leads into that. So you could have them spinning. You know, like, why wouldn't you have? We've got this really cool logo. Why don't we have this as a part of the? Think about all the load screens you've seen. Like the first one I thought of was oh god, now I'm going to butcher the name. Sir Francis Drake and Uncharted, the Uncharted logo where it had the coin on the first one. And I just had the coin spinning over and over again. You could literally have a medallion, you know, you can see the Squadron 42 one, that makes itself as well, right? So like, what would you want your load screen to be if you had this really cool animated logo? And I thought that would just be a really different competition we could do. Dafty Digit, I don't know if you're into that. If you'd like to kind of help take the lead on that, and you know, and we'll give a ship away for it. So we'll run it for a month. We might only get 4 entries, right? Because we did a t-shirt competition, didn't we, Algared? And we only got about 4 or 5 entries. But I just like doing things that are a little bit left of field and a little bit different. But if Dafty Digit is happy to, and I'll do it as well, because I can do them in Photoshop, but I can't animate them. So if you can't draw it yourself, if you can come up with a cool logo idea, either reach out to myself or Dafty Digit, and we'll see if we can. I'd like to get like 3 or 4 of these that we could present to CIG and say, hey, we've got this animated logo that we thought would be cool for your load screen. Right now, remember, they're going into the blue theme, almost like that holographic theme. So I think you'd probably want to lean into that. Think of how the HUD is as well, like how it's got, they've gone that, you know, that kind of retro computery thing, Agro, that they've gone into with the very sharp square boxes. So there's kind of got 2 contradictory themes there, this sharp retro one and a hologram one. Probably lean into one of those, and that's where I'd go. So I could almost see this as just a Star Citizen logo that was a hologram like you'd see in Star Wars spinning or something like that. So whatever you guys think of, and if you think it's a shit idea, then just tell me it's a shit idea and we'll know it was a competition. But I just thought it was something cool and different, and it allowed people to stretch their artistic legs a little bit, and we'll find a ship to give away for that. I don't know if you hate it, you probably hate it, but yeah. I don't know, what's your thoughts? You probably think it's stupid too, right?
Sorry?
You think
I think I think doing something where we say, hey, CIG, here's what we're looking at, or we thought would be cool. Here's what people have come up with. Which one, if you were implementing, would you do? And that we make that the winner. But then if CIG take it or use it as inspiration, then great. But if they don't, then. But yeah, an interesting exercise in stretching our imaginations and thoughts of what could.
Now I know you've got one of these. I just thought that'd be. I just went, that'd be kind of cool for the load screen all of a sudden, because it does the I can get the camera to do this. Focus on this. Like again.
Just. Yep.
Anyway.
Or a challenge coin that flips. Yeah.
Oh, something like that.
So lots of options that could be done just as a
Mark Hamill's face.
Killer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Medical Walker, to change our topic briefly, came in with a question, a comment and question. Actually, it's more a comment, but it's greetings from Puerto Rico. And I want to thank you both for helping me understand the value of the Endeavour and the Crucible. I finally got them both. Now I'm just missing an Explorer Odyssey? Question mark. So missing an Explorer question Odyssey?
I myself, I have 2 CCUs for the Odyssey. One so I can get it standalone, and one to upgrade my Carrack. And I see to you often trying to justify, do I need 2 Explorers? And I don't. I really don't. You could just get the big one and earn down. And a lot of the rules that they're not rules, they're guidelines, right? Me and Algared break them all the time, so feel free to break them, right? But they are the best advice for financial generalization, right? Like the best way to save yourself money, and if you're on a really tight budget, they're the rules to kind of follow. It's the
how to stretch your dollar.
Yeah, and then
here's way to look at it.
And then add 15 to 14 years to that. It's 14 years to that me and Algared have, or I've had. Algared's had a couple of years less, but you start to, you can just indulge because you've got all the things you need, and you know, they call it cash flow. So over the years, you've just got more and more cash coming in. So essentially, you can just start to buy the stuff that you need or want. You know, you can indulge. And that's kind of what I'm at. Like, do I want a Carrack and an Odyssey? And realistically, I don't. But I may end up getting both, you know? So when you say need, it really comes down to what you want. It's not a need. None of these ships are a need. None. Not a single one. They are all just wants. And I think you've always got to take your own personal financial situation, and you know, are you playing with friends? Do you want to make friends? And do you, you know, can you combine those and get a bigger ship to essentially save yourself money? They're all questions you have to ask yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But another key question for that, certainly when you're looking at the Explorer, is what type of exploration are you interested in? Because I still strongly believe that the Odyssey and the Carrack, as the kind of big ships in their profession, focused on totally different aspects of exploration. So the Odyssey, not the Odyssey, the Carrack and the Aquila are more focused on doing the deep space for jump point navigation and that type of aspect. That's where they've got specialist tools. So the only ships I'm aware of those explorers actually have those specialist tools for mapping jump points. Now, will other ships have them? Probably. Will other ships do as good a job? Maybe, maybe not. But those two ships are certainly geared towards that aspect of space exploration. Whereas the Odyssey, I think, is more that planetary survey ship exploration. So different style of exploration. And I think that's, depending on which one you want to go, would lean you towards one or the other.
No, I agree. I'm just thinking of, you just reminded me of, I had this really weird interaction during the week, right? I was in a game of Helldivers, and I just signed up to a random thing, and it put me in with these three people that had microphones, and they're like, oh, he's Aussie, he's got a microphone, he's actually talking. And it was really friendly, it was going really, really awesome. And then like the natural flow of conversation, like this is over about a 20-25 minute period, and it went into, oh, why is your microphone so clear? Oh, I'm a YouTuber. What do you cover? I cover Star Citizen. And as soon as I said Star Citizen, this one guy just about faced, and he just became hostile as shit. It was the weirdest interaction I've ever had on the internet in a really long time. And he's just like, why would you spend all those money on spaceships and blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, well, I've been covering it since the beginning. And he ended up muting me. And I ended up just leaving the game. It was just really, it was a really strange interaction. And this is like, there was nothing wrong. We were all getting on really, really well. But you play Star Citizen? I cannot talk to you. Like, it was just,
oh, look,
it's weird.
I know there were people.
Yeah,
that was Eve. You don't play Eve. You said something bad about Eve.
Yeah,
you know,
Strap Neil face. That's exactly what he said. That was the first words out of his mouth. It's a scam. And I said, they're making a scam.
Yeah.
And he went, what do you mean? I go, well, if it's a scam, why are they still making it? It's a pretty long running scam if they're still making it after 14 years. And he's like, oh, and he had nothing to say.
Yeah. Look, I unfortunately, I think there are some people who have got their mindset, and you know, God forbid you try and change them, and generally you won't. They're people who have to experience and see it. And
now, I have been thinking about inviting people to the new Discord, Algared. So I'm going to float it to Lemming because I know Lemming's listening. Now, Lemming, do you want to start inviting people to the Discord, or are you not ready to do that yet? Or do you reckon we should wait to see if we can still get the old one back? Or do you reckon we can always go back to the old one still, can't we? So what's your thoughts on that, Lemming, if you want to pipe up? I know you're sitting there muted, but I'm actively looking for your microphone to turn on.
He was saying earlier he can't because he's got a weird setup.
Okay. All right. Can't chat. All right. So do you reckon we should drop the Discord link that people can join? All right. Well, you drop it in Twitch and YouTube because you're a mod on both. And if they want to get onto the new one, they can. We're gonna have to try and switch some stuff around. But we'll let you guys know what the go is. But it's becoming more and more increasingly likely we're not going to get the old one back, because it's just I've exhausted almost every effort I can. You know, I probably should have put a video out, to be honest, that literally stated the Discord's been. I've just been really busy trying to get it back.
Dubcody says, for us band people, it would be a nice to be able to go.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I know a lot of people use it, and that's why I've been so actively like. We had an episode last week, and I got so into doing this stuff that I stayed up till about 5:30 in the morning, and then went, oh shit, I got to be up in like 2 hours to do an episode with Algared. Fell asleep and slept right through.
You did.
So I've been that's the type of thing I've been going through, and Algared will tell you very much. I am very stressed at the moment because this is out of my control, and it's not that I'm a control freak. I'm in quite actually the opposite. It's just that I can't do anything to fix it. So I'm heavily relying on other people to help me. And that is stressing me out because I don't like to ask for favors. I don't like to ask for help. I'm always kind of been independent and able to do my own thing. And asking for the help from strangers is very difficult for me. But you do have to do it every once in your life type of thing. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I guess I'll do that again now. If you have any way to assist me, I would appreciate it. Because like that's a Discord we spent 7 years building, and it's just gonna be gone. And no matter how we go about that, it's going to take years to get back to where we are again. It's not going to be an overnight thing. There's no way we can recover that. It's such a
there's so much, but he's gone with that.
Monumental loss. So,
So but I think it. Part of me hopes we can recover the Discord because, as you said, there's so much in there that we don't want to lose. But at the end of the day, because it is taking so long and it's concerned, it's. I think that. And I think Lemming's got the same mind, but it's protecting those people on the server who.
Yeah,
may not be contacted.
That was the part I was like struggling with. Like if I just nuke the whole Discord, but the thing is, I talk to a lot of those people. So he's just been going through the people I talk to, like my brother, my actual real life friends and stuff like that. They've all been getting messages and stuff, and I am pretty sure it probably started with us, and I know it's gone to other Star Citizen Discords. That's the thing. So like I really wanted CIG to step up and help. Now I know they probably don't have contacts at Discord, but you would agree with me, they've got a shitload more pull than I'll ever have. And they would be able to pull their finger out if they really wanted to get stuff done. But it's now, I know it's affected at least 2 other Discords where they've been compromised as well. And a thing that you'll also agree is our community is a very giving, generous community. You're a new backer, you go in there and you ask for help, they will help you. So this person is literally taking advantage of our generosity, and he's just
a community.
And then he's taken my good name, and I just love the responses I hear from people like, you Execute wouldn't do that, which was a joy for me to hear because it means people know me and they know that I would not do that. And it just I just hearing those things were a joy to hear to me because it meant a lot to me that people sorry, I'm getting teary-eyed, but you get me.
So SG guy on YouTube says Execute is experiencing what I was going through in Manchester in terms of stress and freaking out and all the rest of it.
Oh, I was still stressed. We were stressed at Manchester. My foot, by the way, has almost healed. It should be done by the end of this month. That's taken like 4 months to heal. So
But SG guy's talking about his own experience of when his phone.
Oh, yeah. I remember now.
Absolute stress levels. And he says, and he goes on and says, and it's funny because it was Execute and Algared that helped him de-stress.
Yeah. So you tell the story because I've been talking too much. So you tell the story.
Yeah, we ran into SG guy at Manchester. He was just a backer who turned up.
He didn't even know who we were.
He was just hanging out with us just because we were people who were Star Citizens. And one day we're walking through a street using our phones, boop, 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 and his phone just died. He had a slight crack in his screen and the rain had got in and it killed his phone. And that was it. Absolute stress levels went through the roof. As it was just, how do I fix this? What do I do? I can't contact anyone. My finances are limited. Just I get that because mine are tanked. Mine are still tanked. But it was that just the stress levels were just through the roof. But as we went through, looking at options,
I so this is the thing. Like, to me, it was very logical, and the choice was incredibly simple. And I just could have said, you've got to do this, and he couldn't do that. And Algared was way better at it than I was, because I was like, this is an obvious choice. What the hell is wrong with you? And Algared was far more nurturing and you know, he got into the same place that I'd got to, like that. But it was all about calling his mum.
I just had to tell you to shut up.
Yeah, he did.
And stop.
Because all I was trying to do was get him to call his mum. And as soon as he's called his mum, everything just relaxed, right? Like,
you saw it, this physical.
Yeah, like this physical thing. I just like, and it took us like 4 hours to get him to that point just to call his mum. And so we could have gone all around Manchester and looked at all this shit and done all this stuff. But no, we spent a whole day just helping this guy get his phone sorted. But it was worth it, because we made a friend over it. It was really good. It was a different experience, and we like helping people, don't we, Algared? So it was all good.
It was certainly it was different, but it was enjoyable and pleasant.
Yeah.
And
we tried all that, the bag of rice, all those type of things to try and recover the phone.
We tried everything.
Yeah. We even went to multiple shops to try and get him a cheaper phone, things like that. Do you still have the phone, SG, by the way? Are you still using it? Let us know in the chat if you're still using the phone. I'd be curious. Hey, PC, Angry PC.
As you see, I tried that while we went through restaurant. Yeah, we went to a restaurant, got a bag of rice, and so that was in between doing lunch. And, you know, so we spread out the whole day.
Yeah.
Yes, he's still using that phone.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah.
So
how much did it cost to get it?
And he got the other one fixed as well. So
how much did it cost to get fixed? I'd be curious, because like that was something we did look into, but it was going to take like 2 weeks to get fixed, and we just didn't have time.
Yeah, we're in Manchester for a week, and we can get it fixed. It's going to take 2 weeks. I was dope.
Yeah. That was a fun little outing anyway. You know, got to make a friend and stuff like that. But it was the thing I really loved about CitizenCon was just the people. Like, I would so do that differently if we did again. Like everything we learned, we went into that like we were preparing for 12 months to go to that, and nothing went to plan. Like things went to plan, but not like what I thought they were going to be.
Not like we planned or hoped.
And now we know what to expect. I would do it completely different.
Yeah, well, I certainly like going to the panels is great, but you lose so much. Like, I think watching the panels on video, I certainly think I pick up more watching them away from CitizenCon than I did there.
Yeah.
But there is an atmosphere with CitizenCon. But I think the biggest thing is meeting people, and I think.
Well, even
if I was doing it again, I'd stay in the back room.
Yeah. That's what we said.
I'd watch them on screen and talk to people.
Yeah, but like it was little things like there were people like up at CIG, like crowds hanging out CIG, and Sandy Gardner or
is at the front door,
or Aaron or Brian, like these people that like I know and I like I want to talk to, and they know Chris, and that's it. Like, and it's really fun.
I love the classic. I love the classic of you seeing Aaron and hey Aaron, and missing Chris.
Yeah. Oh well, I didn't see him because we're walking past, but you know, his wife came up and thanked me that night. Said it was the highlight of his year. Like someone recognized him but didn't recognize Chris. I was like, oh, Chris was there. Whatever.
Yeah. So that was good.
But no, just even the little interactions. Like I ran into Morph and he said, "Oh, he wanted to talk to Aaron and stuff like that." So I recorded a video of Aaron and I sent it to Morph. And you know, like I wish I'd taken photos now too. Like I didn't take photos with Sandy or Aaron.
Yeah, we didn't take photos with Sandy. We didn't take photos with Aaron. We didn't take photos with Brian Chambers or John or Ben.
We sent videos to people from Ben and John, but didn't get anything for ourselves. You know,
hey Ben,
like
can you record a video saying thank you to? Yeah. But didn't do anything for ourselves. But
no, like it's a trip that I think the downside was that we both got sick. I think the other really big lesson is if you're going to CitizenCon, prepare for sicknesses. I don't know if that means take boosters or if you're into COVID or not take COVID shots or whatever. But they had a COVID outbreak. They had John, that was from the UK. He got sick on the very first day. He didn't get COVID, but he got some kind of really bad coffee thing, and he just went straight home. He missed the entire CitizenCon because he got sick from one of the bar citizens. So it started at the bar citizens, and because you were reforming people into groups every day for a week, it just got worse.
Just a mass contagion.
So just realize you're walking into an area where you are surrounded by, it only takes one sick person and everybody gets sick. That would be the really big thing. And I just remember, I can't remember who it was we were talking. I think it was one of the community people. And they were basically like, they said, oh yeah, everyone at work's got COVID now. And I was like, oh really? Oh shit, maybe we've got that. And then I said to them, I just went, hang on, has this ever happened before? Have you ever had another COVID outbreak at work? And they go, oh yeah, we have actually. And I go, when was that? And they go, that was last year's CitizenCon. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, like, how did you not see this coming?
My memory is a little bit more concise than that. It was basically every year at CitizenCon we'll get something like that.
I took it more, the tone of their voice was more surprised, like they went, what? Oh yeah, it was last year. But
yeah, and you know, that next day, I said to X, I'm going to go get some COVID tests because we were supposed to be going. You know, I was supposed to be going and spending a week visiting family.
And they're older members of family,
and they're like 80 and not, you know, because they're uncles and aunts, so they're 80 and 90. And I said, I'm going to go get tested. I don't think I've got it, but it's just so I can say, yeah, I'm clear. I don't have it. Don't have the evil bug.
Yeah.
And I said, do you want one? And he said, no, I'm right. And I did the test. And I think I became crestfallen. I was shattered. Like, as it came back positive. So yeah, but that was probably the biggest thing. If you're going to CitizenCon, you know, assume that people are going to be sick. Assume if it's something like a COVID, that it's going to go around, and you will likely get it.
Yeah, I think I kind of look at it now. If we were going to go to another CitizenCon, I'd have to go to one in the States, because I think most of the people I want, like, I really want to meet Paul. I really want to meet Space. It was great meeting Loken, and it was great meeting all the developers and stuff. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have to go back to the UK again at some point, but it's so expensive there. But I really enjoyed my time there. But yeah, it's a really questionable thing because it's such an expense. Like you got to realize, just it's a 29-hour flight, right? That is a really, like, you guys, like, even coming from America, is like, oh, 7 hours. That's nothing. That's nothing. Trust me.
Yeah.
Like you literally have, like, just coming back is 7 hours to cross Europe to get to Dubai, and then it's 14 hours of ocean, and then you hit Australia. Right, so it just shows you how remote we are in this world. And that was one of the things I really picked up on the flight, was just we are so far from anyone down here. So when the war breaks out, you guys are stuffed and we'll be totally safe. But yeah.
Yep. So yeah, so that was like I cheated on the way over because I detoured to Indonesia to do language study, and
I also think they didn't help you because you were going to multiple places. I think that made you sicker. Because the more places you go, the more susceptible you are to catching things too. Well,
so I think, I think the worst part for me was getting barley belly in the first week.
Yeah, well, that
and then getting COVID.
Yeah, that was the irony of how it all went down. I was looking after you, then I got sick, and you were looking after me. Then we're kind of both looking after each other because we were both sick again. It was not good. And I know when I got back to John's, like, his girlfriend and John were basically waiting on me hand and foot for the like next 2 weeks. Like, it was just, it was awful. And also I had my foot, so I couldn't really go anywhere. So it was a real dampener. But
although I
still worth it.
I did get a bag of cookies, which did help me get through that week of COVID. You know, so, or at least the first day of COVID.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I'm even more remote than most Australians, by the way. I am in the smallest state in Australia, essentially, and I'm at the island at the bottom. And there's this nice little moat that keeps me away from the crazy mainlanders that Algared has to do with it on a daily basis.
Yep. Yeah, we often forget to put the little islands on the bottom of the map.
They
Because,
do that a lot. They do that a lot. They just...
and
the irony is,
to misquote a prime minister, it's the arse end of the world.
Yeah. Well, the really funny thing though is at the end of the day, Australia itself, Melbourne, which is now the biggest city in Australia, was the two people that were born in my city they were born here, Bassett Flinders, and they founded Melbourne, and Melbourne is now, yeah, I live in Tasmania. Yeah, Mark Flat, I do. And yeah, that Melbourne is now the biggest city in Australia. So I don't know, humble beginnings, I guess. But anyone that actually makes it here, a lot of people retire here because it's one of the places in Australia that a lot of people, most mainlanders never come here. And so someone says, "Oh, I was thinking about going to Tassie," and they'll say, "Oh, don't go there. It's a shithole." But those that actually make it here, they love it, especially people from the UK. And if you heard me on any of the other streams, it is literally so much like the UK. It's not funny. It's just that it's got far less people, and that's why a lot of you British people really like it, because you can retire here, feels like home. Go ahead, Algared.
My question for you is the sky so low in Tassie like it is in England?
Oh, you mean overcast?
Like really low. Like that was one of the things that I think there was only one day in England where I felt, oh, it's a high sky of it normal. Every other time it was like claustrophobic.
It was really sunny on the day that I arrived, and there was a couple of sunny days, but the weather was very similar to England. But I would say that it is not as cold as England. So England, I was really surprised how cold it was. Like it was, a couple of and how so many mainlanders complain about Tasmania being cold. England's way colder than Australia. I actually didn't quite look at the parallels, but I think I think like I know we're like 41 degrees south. They're even further north. So yeah.
Yep.
Locked out of your house. Sorry, bro. Damon on Twitch is saying rough day between the dentist and locked out of my house. Especially if you stand there all duking out. I can't go into the house. Yep. Have you ever had that where they do? So as you get older, you've got to go to the dentist and stuff like that, and they'll often just knock out one side of your face with like you just assume you put in the knockout stuff and it would knock your whole face out. The way the humans work is it either takes out one side of your face or the other. And it's just really funny because you're trying to talk and your whole face lays down one side. You feel like you've had a stroke, essentially what I'm trying to say. And it's not and you bite your tongue at least 7 times.
The worst I've had with that is a dentist put a jab in, didn't work, put another jab in.
Oh, and went over the top.
And then did another jab, and then the second or third jab hit. Everything was... Not just there, everything was gone. It was like, oh man.
Yeah, well, so for me, it takes a little while to kick in. It takes like 15, 20 minutes. And so I always say to them, just give it more time because I've had the same experience in the past. So yeah, but I know a lot of people know what we're talking about because it can get a bit like that.
Yeah, and then I did, that was the same time I think they also gave me the laughing gas because I'd said I've never had it. I wasn't sure. So I said, I'll give you that and I'll give you this. And I remember getting the laughing gas and saying, if this sounds like if you feel like you're going to laugh, let me know. I've got to jack up the oxygen because you're obviously too much of his gas. And I said, I can remember saying, you'd better give me more oxygen because that was the funniest joke I've ever heard.
Yeah, I'll put this out there too. If there is anyone that is even remotely thinking of coming to Tassie, I would be happy to have lunch with you or something like that. So if you ever do make it down to my end of the world, feel free to reach out and I'll happily come and meet you guys. I've met quite a few people that have come down from the mainland and a lot of people from Hobart that have come from the south up to visit me in the north. So if you ever do make it down to my neck of the woods, I'm more than happy to meet any citizen, put it that way. So, and I don't know about Algared, but he might do the same thing. I'm not going to put words in.
No, I'm always happy to talk shit with people.
Yeah.
So if you're visiting Australia, feel free, drop me a line, say hey, and if I can work at a time when I can meet you, but suits you, then I'll gladly talk shit with you and come and have a meal.
Yeah.
So
well, that's the thing. Like me and you have only met in person like what 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, so
apart from CitizenCon, which was
I count that as one. Right? Yeah. Anyway. Right, I didn't want to talk about this. This is the last thing we've got to talk about. the concept, so this is a small salvage ship by RSI, which I was kind of really surprised by. They're building another salvage, but obviously tells me that they're liking doing salvage ships because they probably think it's a bit cooler than the mining stuff. But I
did you notice that
struggled with these three concepts
yeah,
because they are so similar to other manufacturers, right? This is the only one that is RSI to me. That's an anvil. That's a Pisces with arms. And the one above your head is like a Nomad. And I know you said it's also a little bit like a Terrapin.
to me, my initial thought was Terrapin because it just looked like an armored box.
Yep.
But the second you said Nomad, I went, yeah, that
yeah,
I can see a pickup truck in that as well.
Yeah.
The middle one, I can see the RSI influence in terms of a Dorito, but it does look more like Pisces, and even Disco picked that up, and you can't deny it.
Yeah, and if he's picking up on it, it's really obvious then, isn't it? So, Scarab is what I thought was a cool name for this one.
Yep.
But we also already used the name Scarab when it comes to the Crucible. So, hey, but being
well, I said when I looked at that first one, to me it just looked like a beetle. It looked like a Scarab.
Yeah, or maybe just call it the Beetle then. But being CIG, they like to reuse names. But this is the best one of these. But again, I think this is an earlier concept than, say, when we looked at the Kruger ones, because essentially there's only 3 of them, where the Kruger guy had like 6 or 7. You know, so hopefully this develops a little more. And the way they talk about this now, I don't know exactly where it's going to land because they went backwards and forwards a few times. But I would hope that this is an advanced starter because there is no RSI advanced starter. We have the Aurora, but if they make like a direct competitor to the Aurora, I would be highly surprised based on what we know about how they're trying to fill out the grid. So I'd assume that this has to be an RSI starter. How do you feel about, well, now we know the Fortune's a thing and this is a thing. Like I have to assume the Vulture's the medium now. I think that is concrete because
I think that's right, and I think it picks up that type of thinking. The other thing that's interesting, and I think if I was a betting man, based on what I remember from the video, I would go the first one that has that Mantis tryouts because one of the other guys is working on a Mantis, not variant, but a Mantis chassis built ship that's a fighter.
Yep.
And so you'd have the QED version, the fighter.
Yeah, we heard about that in the code like a year ago. Oh, I don't know, it was a year ago, but we heard about it a long time ago now.
But they also talked about that in the video as well.
I'd have to assume that with the Intrepid that came out last year, that we'll probably get the Intrepid variants this year. So I'd have to assume that this is at least not this year's AIE, but next year's, so 2026 AIE.
Yeah, depending on when they started these, and I think that's the key because we know there's about an 18-month turnaround from when they start to beyond, and these are a concept at the moment. So
Timble's saying exactly what you said, and Timble said it's the Aurora Mark II. That was Algared's hope. He's like, oh, they're finally killing that son of a bitch. No, he didn't say it like that, but I'm putting words in his mouth. But he
is. But I did say
it's a lot more casual.
My hope would be this could be.
I just like the thought of Old Man Hurston going, "You son of a bitch!" No, anyway, right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. But as I did say, it could be. I'd like to think it is an Aurora Mark II, and I'd like to see. And part of my thing is I'd like to see those starter ships go from you've got your fighter, you've got your transport, you've got your miner, you've got your you've got the different professions in the absolute base starter level, so you could actually pick up and do that. But then I also see you want the absolute lowest entry level to be an absolute generic ship that can do anything. And then the next level up, you branch out into the profession. So
yeah, well, I do like that this is a newer, more modern RSI ship where the Aura is the older style. And I think that was one of the questions that came up. I can't remember exactly how it was said, but someone was saying something along the lines in the chat that basically said that I don't like how they seem to change manufacturer but yet be from the same manufacturer. And I don't quite remember Disco's answer. You probably do. Did you remember what it was?
Yep. Basically, it was he then went to task on content creators like us and others who talk about ships not looking like the manufacturer because that's not how that ship's built. And he went on and said, well, some of these companies are 900 years old, and so you've got early designs and later designs, and even 10 years down the track, you get
I don't remember
designs
him.
and the way things are going.
That's what I said. That's what I said to you. I don't remember him saying that. Did he actually say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Disco went along those lines and said, backers will say that ship's doesn't look like an Anvil ship, or doesn't look like an RSI ship, or doesn't look like an X ship. But manufacturers will change over time, and they talked about how manufacturers will get that change and development as time goes on. But I actually think a lot of the backers, when they're saying it doesn't look like a X ship, we're picking up on the design language that CIG has always used in the game to differentiate different types of ship.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think
so. What with
so because that's what my first instinct was. It was the law thing, right? But I think the other reason why some people kind of miss that mark is there are some. So let's take Roberts Space Industries. They're the biggest, right? They've got the longest 900 window span. They've clearly got these 2 to 3 different styles as they kind of go between the time periods. But then you've got Anvil that also has 2 different styles, and they're about 600 years old. You'd probably remember that more than me. They're in there. But then you've got Argo, and Argo's straight bang in the middle of both of them, and they've only got one style really. They need another style, and I think that's the other thing. Like, so some are just more developed than others, and I think that's a part and parcel to just they haven't developed some as many as others, and I think that's where the misinterpretation comes in. Is the
and I think like there's no problem. Like I look at the Mantis and I can see RSI all through it, even though it's a totally different style and look to the Aurora and the Constellation, and I can still see RSI in the Polaris and the Perseus. Because it seems like in the cockpit, it seems like in the engine cells. So you see that continuity of thought and continuity of design language. But it doesn't mean the ships have to be cardboard cutouts. And I think when backers are saying this does not look like X ship, that's what they're picking up on. It's like the Redeemer.
Well, this is what they were complaining about. Most of them was it should have been orange because or that color of Conside Outland. And my first thought went to, what if this is just one area of the ship? Like I remember listening to Ender when he was on their podcast talking about the Polaris, right? And a lot of military ships, they use color coding. So this is the green area, this is the blue area, this is the red area, that type of thing. In a really big ship like that, that's a really cool idea. And I'm going to be honest with you, yellow is a very industrial color. Far more in the real world than orange is, right? Think of all the yellow things like giant Caterpillar excavators that are yellow, the big massive dump trucks you see at the mines. Like I'd go on, and I would challenge you to find more orange industrial things than yellow. But anyway.
Well, I even said to you at the time, look, I don't mind. I know you were saying people are going off on the yellow, and I said I don't mind the yellow. Like, it's different manufacturers use different shades of yellow to do that. But even in the video, they were talking about this vertical slice of the Pioneer showing different areas of a ship and different locations of a ship having different color codes. And they've talked about that in the past when they've been doing the large ships. So you'll see it you can actually see that type of design language in the 890 jumps. So in the more crew areas, the floors are more metallic. In the areas where the passengers would go, they're panelled and wooden. And it's that type of design language which is giving you clues or cues as to what area of a ship you're in.
Yeah, and
that's what you need in the game.
They've also said you're going to be able to customize your own interiors eventually anyway. So if you don't like the yellow, make it fluffy pink if that's what you want it to be anyway. So I'm not really phased. Like, it's a cart before the horse problem, really.
Yep. But and that again goes into the design language. Like when you're looking at the interiors, the color cues are doing the design language to highlight this is an industrial area, this is a work area, this is a living space, this is a a weapons area, and so you'll get those different colors. So, and this is again experimentation of what it could look like, or what so they're just giving the ideas out there. So it ties in again with the looks of the ships and the style guide that they go for, and it's trying to get that. In the real world, we might see things totally the same across different manufacturers, but in a game, you want to try and get those nuances and feel. So Serge is kind of in that rock and a hard place where you want to get that unity of idea, but you also want to show that difference of idea. And I think they've done it really well with the RSI ships. But others may disagree with me. But that's okay. Do we have another question? Let's have a look. Manifold Walker? No, we've done that one.
I can't reply in chat, but someone was asking what blew my mind. It was literally that the caterpillar can now go down to the ground. So all the elevators work. So the doors open and then they can go down to the ground. And I can't show you that because it's in Evacardi, but I shared it with Algared, and it's just something a long time coming.
It had the same effect on me.
Yeah. Because it's just something we've been waiting to see for 14 years. So
I think I even said to you yesterday that was even bigger than
the Kruger stuff. Yeah.
The Kruger ship.
Yeah.
Just because of what it entailed and how long we'd waited and what it meant in terms of the blockers that had stopped that in the past.
Yeah, and it leads a lot of credence to them actually doing these long-term things that they've been talking about this year, actually delivering some stuff. And it sounds like a really weird one to pick, but when it's been 14 years, you can kind of see why they did it. Yeah.
And part of the reason it was so difficult, it was the door would open and then become the lift. And so it was two functions that they had to kind of merge and marry together.
And it's got to be able to pause, so it's got to have a two-stage lift as well, which they haven't implemented yet. It's got to also have boxes be able to load it onto it, plus be loaded off, plus there's just so many things with that ship that are just outside its ordinary. Well, again, it's got to be a lift that moves with the boxes on it. So that's obviously something that they're not used to. Because the only other, I think, what's the thing? The ship they just made, the Fortune. That one technically does it like that. But the other thing is, they don't go straight up and down. They kind of go at this weird angle thing. Yeah. So
they have to kind of go out and down a little bit as well.
So if
the doors themselves are hinged, so they kind of
So if they cheated on the Fortune and just make it go up and down, then it might be a bit more complicated because it goes out. I don't know how they've done it, but I'd hope they've done it the correct way, so they can kind of copy paste that over.
But the key thing is that one of the key blockers that they'd had from way back in getting the caterpillar doors to work was that aspect. And in the P2U they seem to have solved it. So that is so now the Atlas should be able to fit into the cat or climb onto the cat. I assume you're talking about the Atlas mech rather than the vehicle. Yes, because you use the Atlas mech logo spelling. So anyway, next question was from Crivitus. Crivitus says, do you think we are seeing things like the cat change because they finally have time to go back and thought things out with a focus on bug fixing?
Yeah, well, that is a really question. Why are they finally going back and doing all this stuff that they should have? You would hope they've done a long time ago because they're really low. That's not a priority. But I think the other thing is they've probably realized, much like the Caterpillar, the Carrot, you couldn't actually use the Caterpillar properly to load boxes. So it was required at a basic level because again, it only brings the doors down so they're out of the way so you can actually get the boxes in. Right. And here's the crazy thing. The other thing that makes it difficult is you can't actually, you can put them onto the elevators, but you can only put them into the first module. Every module after that is blocked. So you've actually got to put them on the doors, then bring the doors up and then move them from, so it's a multi-stage process to load that thing. That is going to be a very quick ship to load if you've got multiple people. Yeah. But again, the ship's designed for 8 people, so you should have multiple people.
And one of the things you're talking about is it was a difficult ship to unload and get everything into the cargo lift area. But in terms of just unloading the ship and putting it off the grid in the hangar, and then loading it into the cargo elevator afterwards means that ship is a really quick ship to offload and get out.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bugger to load from a cargo elevator.
Yeah.
For the same reason.
So it's going to have some teething issues, and I'm interested to see if they change anything on it or how it gets fixed. But I am interested to see where it goes, because again, it is that older design, and all those ships, and I mean every single one, from the Aurora, Connie, Cutlass, Freelancer, Caterpillar. I know I'm missing one.
The first five were the Hornet
and the Hornet. Yeah.
The Aurora, Freelancer, 300, and
the Caterpillar came quickly after, though.
And the Caterpillar came.
And the Connie was there as well. But if you look through those ships that Algared just mentioned, they've all had reworks except the Caterpillar.
Yep. And the big thing was stopping the Caterpillar
and the Freelancer. That's the other one that is a rework as well. So,
but the big thing that I think had stopped any work on the Caterpillar had been those doors. The lifts and the doors just not being able to be sorted. So
can't install COD. Yes, the front one comes down as well. Like if you actually open external, all 10 elevators, including the one underneath, will come down. They are a little buggy right now, so sometimes they do lock up and won't go back up or something like that, but they're at least animated and working. So I think by the time it gets out of PTU, it'll be in a better state for everyone else. But yeah, I was really impressed. They have had to remodel ever so slightly some things at the front, but you'll see all that when it comes out, because I'd say the front, because that's the other thing, that front is a completely different animation to all the side ones. The side ones is essentially one, and they duplicate it along and flip to the other side, but the front one's completely bespoke.
When you first showed me, I thought, oh yeah, it's just the front door, and then the side doors went. I was like, Stickman, I have to Stickman, ZJ. Thank you for making me feel so ancient and old, because he says the Mustangs were pretty early as well, but I remember them being fairly late after my joining. Yes, they're very early ships in comparison to many others, but I already had Pokemon Syndrome by the time they came out.
Yeah, you can do, just to be clear, you can switch them all individually. There's a switch internally and externally on every single elevator, so that you can do it. It works really, really well. So I went around and tested them all. They work really well.
I'm going to grab Socially Confused question now. Because he didn't put a question in there. He's only got a question mark. But he says, do rovers fit in the cat? And we have to double check that.
I would say they might physically fit, but they don't fit on the elevator doors.
Yeah.
The elevator door, you got to remember, when the cat's actually got two doors that close kind of like that. So it's only half as wide as you think it is.
And maybe you could drive in along the side, but then you'd have to turn and get in. But
but
at the moment,
it's not designed for it.
Yeah, and at the moment, the doors don't stop at the level they.
Look, the last I remember is seeing people put cyclones in them.
Yep.
So that would imply to me that no, you can't put rovers in them. But I'd have to go back and check. It's been a hot mile. Yeah. Waffle says no nurser. No. Yeah, multiple no's. So yeah, no.
No more no's from people who've done it. Thank you guys. No nurser. So no.
What's on the Anvil Asgard? Anvil Asgard. Yep. I might look that up real quick. Anvil Asgard.
No, I had missed Jake's question because we jumped out of order on a few of them. So Jake Mason had said, question, safe to talk about the Anvil Asgard?
I do not see any Anvil Asgard. Is this a leak? Am I missed something? Well, in all the chaos this week, have I missed something? No leaks on an Anvil Asgard. Or what is this Anvil Asgard, man? Are you pulling stuff out of your pants? I want to Fury Carrier with it's a leak. It kind of works. Well, someone send me something about it and we'll go have a look at it. I got no problem looking at leaks. But I can't see anything on the usual channels about double check.
And to pick up Flambeau's other question, or question, which goes, should I forward all correspondence to Algared then to pass on to execute later? You can, or you can just use Manacle Mind.
Yeah. Either or.
So either of those will do.
Yeah. Manacle Mind's just my alternative.
Yep.
Anyway. Yeah, I'm not finding anything on an Asgard. So text like nothing really could be April Fool's bait. Whereabouts is it located? Is it on Reddit? Where am I looking at this stuff? Because I'm feeling like we're out of a thing.
Yeah, I saw several people ask about the Asgard, but
Yeah. So yeah,
I had a quick search earlier and I didn't see anything.
yeah, I can't see anything either. So yeah, April 1st is approaching. Yeah, again, they do debate people. So.
Parker G says April 1st is approaching.
Yeah. Yeah. So
if it looks like a hammer.
Gas harvester for the Starfarer. Right.
So it looks like a cut down hammerhead. And it looks like Thor's hammer.
Oh my god, someone actually got in contact with me from Discord. What the fuck? Sorry. No, wait. I have to do this now. Sorry guys. No, I have not.
Yep.
Have not regained access. It's been a nightmare.
Yes.
What do you need from me to prove who I am so you can fix all this? Wow, an actual human. Their name is Waterloo. That's how I know they're not, because the bots have all got the damn same names. If I ever meet Clyde again, Clyde is a dead man, as is Ali, and as is me. And they all have these names that are like generic, and it's really annoying. Right, so hopefully we can get this back. I don't know if you're hearing this, Lemming, but that was a really good sign. No, I was just trying. What I actually came in here for was to look for the newsletter, to see if they've got the thing. Okay, cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah, right, and of course, as some of them are saying, and of course it's midstream. Yeah, yeah.
They reached out by email. Oh no. I replied to the wrong email, which means they've closed that ticket.
Oh, bummer.
I replied on the wrong. I'll fix that later.
Yep. Stress levels rising.
Yeah, I finally get through to a human.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll fix it later. I'll do it after this. Right. Yeah, so I haven't sent an email. I don't have anything on the Asgard. Nobody seems to have links on the Asgard that I can see. Here is the Asgard League. Socially confused. Send it to Algared if you don't have me on Discord, because I can't see the link. Are you seeing a link come up? Oh, wait, there's one. Reddit. Let's see if this works. I've got to make sure there's no things. Oh, it's lines of code. Right, it's lines of code. Let's have a look. This looks pretty safe to look at. Right. So lines of code. I'm gonna have to zoom in here. Zoom and enhance. Collectors.
I would be unable to see those.
Yep. Amount, mission, general, impossible, intro, general collector. There's nothing here about a ship. Uranium. So these are new commodities, added locations, Hathor mining facility, monorail component compound, new dynamic events, random notes, Anvil Asgard new spaceship. Okay.
Yep.
I would not believe names, because we've seen so many names come up that change to in the code. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Algared Essex, ATL
And
power,
that's all we've got.
additional animations. Base suit appears to be getting thrusters. LS power suit. So a different Titan suit, maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. The other thing, Algared, that you might have missed too. I don't know if you've seen this, but they've found things in these files about a mission giver that's Banu. And in the monthly reports that they was working on a new animations for a new mission giver.
Yep.
So we're probably getting our first alien in game, which I think is pretty cool.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I still would like to see, because the Tavaran are supposed to be so prevalent within Navy ships. I'd like to see a couple of, when Invictus comes, a couple walking around the spaceships rather than just being all human. Like the Navy ships.
Well, I think you will personally get a lot more excited when the first Tavaran goes in game. I think they seem to be your favorite race from, I don't know, I could be wrong. I've never actually directly asked you that, but just from my...
I would have to say they are. They're the underdog. They're the there's just lots of little bits about them. But they're a race that's on the brink. And so to bring them into the fold, to actually see them prosper and flourish,
so
would be a good thing.
Yeah. So this is a post about Alpha 4.1 and the PTU and the things they're starting to test in avocado and stuff like that. And there's a couple of really good things in here. I think a big one is I'm getting indigestion. Sorry. Item recovery. So all your flare items and stuff like that, you'll be able to get those back. And you know how when you die at a station, you kind of respawn with the gear on you? It's going to be like that for most items in the first iteration. But your dead body will also have the items on it. So if someone takes your items, they'll get a copy and you'll get a copy. Type of thing. And then they've also talked about insurance, and it's literally going to be like how insurance works in the real world. Like, you know, you're going to do house and contents insurance, and you're going to list everything in your house, and until you update it, they're only the items you're going to get. So you've kind of got to, I think you've got to pay to update your insurance or whatever like that, and then they'll add more items to it like that. So that seems to be how it's going to work. And yeah, that's what I kind of got out. The two big kind of things I got out of it. There are some other little nuggets in there, but I'm going to be honest, off the top of my head right now, I've actually forgotten. But they do go into like crafting integration and bricked items and stuff like that. It's all in there if you want to read it, but I'm not going to. We are not the Astropub or Space Tomato. If you want patch notes, they are the people that we highly recommend you go to, because they will sit there and read out the whole thing for you. And I'm going to be honest, a lot of the time when I want to do these, I just listen to one of those two boys read it. That way I don't have to do any reading. I'd be full laze mode, because games don't read.
If there's any reading, actually just you see his eyes just glaze over as well. But yeah.
But it is good to see some of those things they're talking about Citizen kind of coming through. So yeah.
Yep. So Mark Flatt says, Starfarer, any ideas if when CIG plans to implement hydrogen gas scooping and refining over gas planets or gas giants? I would assume that it's more likely to come in when they rework the Starfarer. That would be the easiest when answer. But alternatively, they could bring it in when they decide they need to do gas processing, and so gas refinery. So that'd be my two thoughts as when they do that. I think the safer bet is when they rework the Starfarer to get it working, and redesign the Starfarer, and then get everything working in the meantime. Otherwise, they might be doing it twice or three times, and I don't want to do that. Nothing to add on that one?
Sorry, say it again, because I was replying to that email.
Starfarer, any ideas? So Mark Flatt said, Starfarer, any ideas when, if CIG plans to implement hydrogen gas scooping and refining over gas giants?
I think they're definitely after 1.0 now. I think you would agree with me on that. I think
Yeah.
another tip of the hat to that was that they've removed the underground stuff from the prospector. I think they've kind of realized they could split them into two types of ships. So you've kind of got your underground miners and your kind of rock miners. So you kind of get gas as underground or liquid and gas as underground. And I still think you could have, like, as we worked out when we talked to the geologist people, you can still do underground mining but not physically go there. So I think it just allows them to sell another smaller ship. I think that's their original plan. So the prospect is just a rock miner, but your actual underground mining will be some kind of driller. So I just think that it's definitely after 1.0 now. Like, I think everyone would agree that the stabilization of the game has definitely changed what they were planning to get out. I know when I was listening to Paul yesterday as an example, he talked about things like scanning being kicked down the road. They're still coming, but they're just not going to be out as soon as we wanted them to be. Like, look at engineering. It was meant to come at the end of the last year. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get it to halfway through this year or even longer, because it's just less of a priority now.
Yep. And whenever we get anything new in the game, like in many ways, I want everything now because I want to enjoy it all now. But ships or gameplay loops, I'm in a sense happy for them to take their time and do it right. And I'm happy for the ships that I really want to be later because it means that they end up being more polished and looking awesome. And you know, I like when any ship comes out, but if it's a ship I really want, I want it to be, you know, perfect. So,
yeah. Well, I still, you know, like when we look at the ships, I still like mining was really clear, right? You can kind of see how they all slot in, but I have to think now where I look at the Fortune, I'm trying to look at the differences between the Vulture and the Fortune, and we struggled with that. And the only thing we ended up coming up with was the munching. And again, you could also describe away the munching as it's just done in a different way on the Fortune that we can't see or they haven't explained. And again, they don't always explain everything. And then in time, it comes out that what we speculated or another method of it was kind of like along the lines of what we're thinking. It's just a different way. But also there's been ones where it is a entirely different series of chips. So we just have to kind of wait and see how that one shakes out. But the fact that they are both the same price kind of leads me to think it's our first double up. So yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think we've talked. Well, I think we've talked about that at previous times as well.
It just makes it difficult because we're running into things now that have we haven't run into before, right? The things that contradict themselves, and we're definitely in a period of rapid change now. But you remember I kind of said that they didn't really work on Star Citizen for a long time. Now they're kind of working on it a lot more actively. And I think you would agree with me. Just this year alone, we're starting to see a lot more work than we've seen in previous years.
And I think that's but part of it comes in with that quality of life improvements they're doing. And you know, even when you look at the Caterpillar, those changes to the Caterpillar are a huge quality of life improvement to anyone who owns a Caterpillar.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. Another question that comes in related to the Starfarer is a question from Spicy SC07. He says, "Will the Starfarer Gemini have gas collection? I thought there was a scoop that was replaced with missiles, and the scoop was replaced by missiles. And yes, the Starfarer G does have its scoop module replaced with a missile rack, and its turrets are actually upgraded sizes as well. But when it was sold, the Starfarer G still has all the pipes and all the stuff to do the scoop generation.
Can I just rephrase what
you're even said?
Can I rephrase what you're saying? So basically, the default Starfarer does the sucking up gas collection and all that. What Algared's trying to explain is when you buy the Starfarer Gemini, they swap that out for a missile pod. But once you have the Gemini, you can actually switch between the two. That's what he's trying to explain. So yes, they both do it.
So they've said it's still got the internals to do all the gas stuff. it just doesn't have the scoop, and so you could actually add the scoop to it.
If you buy the Gemini in game, though, it is actually cheaper than the normal Starfarer. Out of game, though, you get the Gemini, but you get all the components that come with a normal Starfarer, so you can mix and match. So the best version is the bought version, because otherwise, if you have a Gemini, you're going to have to find all the pieces to upgrade it to a Starfarer. And if you have a Starfarer, you're not going to have the armor. It's kind of like an M2 and a C2. That's a really easy way to look at it, right? M2 is the same size and all that. It's just heavier because it's got armor on it. The Starfarer G is literally the same version as that. It just has the extra armor. It has up gun guns and all that type of stuff. So you can take slightly less cargo, or well, what is it? I'd have to look at the stats. I think it's like 100 SC or whatever it is on the C2.
And even though the cargo bay is the same, the difference is really just the engines not being able to lift that extra weight with the cargo.
Yeah,
so
because of the armor. But by the same count, you're going to take far more hits in an armored ship than you are in an unarmored one. And it's a fuel carrier, for crying out loud. Of course you're going to want to have armor on it, you know, especially if you're in a big fleet going across multiple systems and stuff like that. So
indeed.
But like, again, it's the Starfarer that tells us that these gas things are coming, you know, and again, you can look at that as a grid. If that is the large ship, the gas collection, that means you've got a capital, a medium, and a small, and possibly when you look into things like medical with the Pisces, you've probably even got a tiny, you know, like a small, extra small, or whatever you want to call it. So an S1 rather than an S2. So when you run that all through, there's a lot of ships that we're missing. You can do the same thing with the biopods on the Endeavour. There are no other agricultural ships. You can do the same thing with the 400i, with the temperature-controlled transport. We don't have any other ship that can do that. You know, you know, when you start to look at shop ships, you can tell that you're going to have not just different numbers of shops, but also different qualities. Like Algared's not going to be seen dead in the Drake Taco truck, but he'd love to be in the Origin Taco truck luxury version, or the Banu one, you know, because Banu is fairly luxurious.
Top of a line, you know, food that you know, it opens up and they've got a little restaurant and cafe type arrangement. Yeah,
I'd probably envision possibly 3 of each size when it comes to shop ships, you know, like a low quality, a medium quality. Well, we know that they have low, medium, and high tech, right? It's one of the things they talk about in a lot of the stuff. We also know they have low, medium, and high tech when it comes to technology itself. Like you've got the Atlas, you've got hand trolleys, you've got drones that will pick up cargo, right? So you've got different levels there. Why would you invent hand trolleys when you can just do it with tractor beams? Because they want different tech levels for different environments. Yeah, like if you're in
certain areas where
low economic low economic income. So like if you're out in Nix, you're going to be, you know, not as good as if you're going to be in the middle of Terra, or you know, where Origin works from, or something like that. So different areas are going to require different tech levels, and when you kind of carry this all through, you can start to build out and roughly figure out how many ships they're going to have.
Yeah, and then you've got the situation like people say, "Oh, I'll just take the tractor beam." But as we discovered with the tractor beam, you know, you get the big backpack tractor beam, you get a battery. You know, over time that battery will run out.
Well, we even talked,
and then it won't work if you don't have a battery. So you'd have to.
Remember, we talked about different Titan suits as well. That was a really good example. The Origin one is like really high tech, and it's battery, and it's got like it can recharge itself from the sun and all this stuff. The Drake one is all oily and gassy and pollution everywhere, and it's got cogs, but I can run up and just shove a stick in it and it stops working. But by the same token, if an EMP goes off, the Origin one's stopped, but the Drake one keeps going. So there's pluses and minuses to low and high tech. And I really like that. It's the same thing with the taco truck. Yeah. There's an EMP, and my taco truck is the only place people can get food in town. And
because I'm cooking with gas rather than cooking with microwaves.
Yeah. And Algared's using nuclear fusion off in his taco truck, and it's been EMP'd to pieces. So you can start to see all these cool little plus and minuses that come along from having these different things. So
Yep. So Parker, XGPS says, proposed item recovery has a lot talking. Any gripes or other feedback?
Read that again. Sorry, I was trying to do 2 things at once.
So Parker XGPS says
Yep.
the proposed item recovery system has a lot of people talking.
Yes.
Any gripes or other feedback?
I think they're just going to do it. I think this is a stopgap until they get some kind of store in game where you can just go and claim it back to your. Because you know how you walk up to those consoles now and your inventory comes in? Couldn't there just be an option on that terminal, like an ASOP terminal that says, hey, I want to recover one of my items? Because I also mentioned in the post about that you could pay to get them back from consoles. And I think that's what it'll end up being. It'll just be a console thing. I just think this is their stopgap so they can do it in stages. So they're trying, again, as I said, that the Caterpillar, this item recovery, they're all quality of life features. They are moving into trying to bring Star Citizen up to a more playable level. It is all about trying to appease us, because if we're all talking about not just us, right? The casual people, if we're talking about, this is a way much more, if this is a way more polished game, we're going to be talking a lot about it a lot better. Squadron 42 comes out. You cannot you cannot have one game that looks absolutely horseshit and another game comes out and expect people to buy it. It's just not going to happen. So they've got to both look quality and then people will buy them. And I think that's the whole change of pitch.
No, I think you're right. And it almost feels like a certain person's having an influence on pushing the way they think.
We know who that
is. To build Stars.
Yeah. But that would be Sandy, by the way. He's subtly mentioning Sandy. But
yeah.
No, she is a positive influence on that place. I don't care what anyone says. Her not being there was detrimental in my book. It's not been the same.
I agree. I think when Sandy pulled back, I think we saw, or it felt like
it got worse.
And it's hard because when she pulled back, it was also the community grew, but it also felt like that was when customer service seemed to take a step backwards.
Yeah. Oh man, I tell you what, after this week dealing with Discord, I just want to send a thank you note to CIT community. Like I probably will do that at some point. Just randomly send in a ticket and say, nothing wrong. Just wanted to say thanks. I've been dealing with really shitty customer support this week. Just wanted to thank each and every single one of you. You guys are awesome. You really go above and beyond. Because really, when you deal with shit customer support, you know, how often do you hear nice things like that though, right?
Yep.
So that would make their day. I'm not saying flood them with tickets, guys, and all say thank you, but it would, I'm just going to put one in. But I'll do it on the behalf of all of us. But I do always try to thank them when they do things for me, because they obviously have a very hard job dealing with us bitching and shit.
Yep, and you're right. Like people, like as a teacher, we'll constantly get people complain about our students. Oh, your students did blah 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 blah. But you very rarely get the compliments when the students do the right thing or the good thing, because people just assume that's what they should be doing. But it's still nice to hear those positive things when someone does something positive. Yes, SC Boy says, when dealing with garbage customer support, you want the world to kind of explode. Yeah, it just adds to your stress levels and makes you feel horrible and yuck and disgusting.
Yeah, and I've been dealing with that all this week. It's been an absolute nightmare. So,
all right. So Damien 1331 says, has there been any update about the silhouettes of ships for this year since they changed over to content over features?
Hang on. I keep missing these questions because I'm doing two things at once, Algared.
Yep.
So I'll read it again. You just answer it. I'll read it.
So. In terms of the silhouettes, I think that...
I can mention one. One of the devs that I talked to that told me about the Nock Drake is now backpedaling. So I'm now like, maybe it is a Drake, because they are now backpedaling. They clearly told us it wasn't, but now they're telling, well, you were there. You were there when they said it. But now that person is backpedaling.
They just said, is it? But they did say the guy who was designing it was batshit crazy, to use a quote.
Yeah.
In a good way, not a crazy way. Well, I still think the ship, if it's Drake, it's not going to be rotating.
Yes,
that's to me, that's too outside of Drake's wheelhouse and design in terms of what they try and do. Doesn't mean it's not. Doesn't mean it's that a Drake ship couldn't do that. No, it just, to me, just feels totally alien to that company manufacturer in terms of the design language and everything else. It's a bit like I see the Redeemer. I love the engines on the Redeemer, but I hate the engines on the Redeemer because they're totally alien to our verse, and there's no other ship that uses similar engines to that.
What's the lore length on Drake? Like how RSI is 900 years. How old's Drake?
Oh, I'd have to have a gander.
Have a quick gander. Lemming,
I'll
you're
have a quick
around,
gander.
and you want to say something, mate? Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I'm here. No, I didn't have anything to say. I just wanted to see if you wanted me to join in.
Oh, yeah, you can join in.
You can join in.
Of course you can. No problem with that. I'd have you on camera if you put your ugly mug on it, but you refuse.
Yeah, you just like being a voice in the void.
Oh,
A true story.
yeah. Doesn't want to scare people, do you? No.
That's right.
Yep.
It's all good. Right.
All right, so
I'll do the next question while you're looking that up.
okay, so Drake was founded in 2845.
So that's
by Jan Dredge. So,
what's that,
basically,
like 200
they're
years? They're like brand
new.
new. Yeah,
they're babies.
So
That's why I think that's why they can't break into the system. They're still
So
scum of the earth.
So what's
newbies.
that like? Is that like 150 years or just a bit less than that?
What are we, 2953 or something like that?
And would you say 2838?
2845.
45. Yeah, so that's like 120 years. Damn, that's nothing.
Yeah.
So
they're new kids on the block.
Yeah, they probably only, comparing to RSI, they've probably only got one style. So again, that is a drastic departure from anything else they've done.
Yeah.
So,
and one of the key things that Drake are known for is keeping that, keeping things simple and going that, so.
Someone's saying we didn't really answer his question, so we'll go back to it then. Is there any update about the Silhouette ships?
Well,
no.
we're actually discussing it. I thought
we're still
I
going
thought
through
that was what we were still kind of talking
about. There isn't really. Look, I'm going to say this though. We've talked on stream a couple of times about what those ships are meant to be, and we actually haven't done a video on it. So we're actually planning this weekend, and I talked to you about this yesterday, so I'm not surprising you, Algared, about actually just taking what we've talked about on stream and putting that into a video. And we've been talking about these since CitizenCon. We went through.
We even talked about it at CitizenCon.
Yeah,
one about.
I went through it with Grim and did one right about the blue silhouettes. But maybe I've just got to go through and do it with you from that.
Well, we did sit there at CitizenCon in the lounge and talk the ships and what we thought was coming.
Yeah.
We've talked about it numerous times throughout the year as well so far,
but we get maybe 200 people, maybe 2,000 after this goes up. People sit and watch the entire VOD. But then we do a normal video, they can hit 6 and higher 1,000, right? So I don't know. Again, I'll ask that to you guys. We did that with, I did it with Grim. I did that episode with Grim because Algared wasn't available. Do you want us to kind of do an updated one of what ships could possibly, because what my thought was what ships we could possibly get in Invictus, and stuff like that. So we've got things like the Raelian, the Perseus, the Ironclad, like some of the ships off the blue silhouette, but other ships that we're expecting that could possibly popping out at Invictus and stuff like that. Lemming?
So, yeah, there's one thing that's been lacking from the last 2 months of monthly reports, and that's any ship updates. There have been nothing.
They did talk about what went into grey box and white box, but that's it, really.
That was back in November. That was the November-December one.
Yeah, technically you're correct. But you get what I mean, though, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
So we've been almost 3 months now with no ship updates from the ship team. So trying to guess what's actually coming anytime soon is anyone's guess.
This is the other thing. Like, me and Algared were there, right? And they literally said to me, and Algared verbatim.
No.
Hey, Google.
Hey, Google. No, hey, Google, we can hear you.
Sure. Turning on.
Sorry. I don't know why it was open. I'm sorry, everyone.
It's all good. He's being wife Algared. Anyway, so they literally said to us that every ship goes into the pipeline and it takes 18 months. Right? That's what Algared, you'd agree with that? Don't want to put words in your mouth. Right?
That's exactly what it was, so.
Yeah, so if you logically think that through, if it's a small ship, less people. If it's a Polaris, we know they put 8 people on the Polaris. That's how they're going about this. So they've refined the pipeline to such a point that they just put more people on it, the bigger it is. It always takes 18 months because of all these checks and balances it's got to go through. Now, when you start to look at that, 2 ships really come out to the forefront for Invictus: the Raelian and the Ironclad. And these are based on the fact, and the other one would be the Apollo. And this is all based on when they went into production pipeline and where they are now, right? Now, I'm not saying we're getting any of those. I'm just saying they are 3 contenders for Invictus, right? And that's all this episode would be that we would do is just kind of say what are contenders for Invictus. But Lemmy, you want to say? Nope, he's got more Wi-Fi group. Oh,
No, I don't know where my mic's open and closed, so I don't want that to happen again.
okay.
I don't think anything is coming off the backlog in Invictus. I know people don't want to hear that, but I'm just being realistic at this point.
You are always more skeptical than us. I would hope that we're getting it, but I won't be surprised if we don't get nothing either. But having more people on the ship team now, I think that they have got more things that are moving through, and more things are going into production than we've seen kind of in quite a while. So how long has that been in production, and are they starting to come out the other side? Like, for example, we know that the Ironclad went into production at not last CitizenCon, but the one before. At 18 months, you get to Invictus. At that same time, both the Apollo and the Raelian were showing white box and grey boxes on ISC. You add 18 months, we're about to hit that.
So
I would say that with the ships that I talked about, Air and Star Citizen Live, the Kruger ship and the RSI salvage ship, they're only just in concept. So they're not going to be I would not expect them Invictus this year. I wouldn't expect them at the conference this year, but I would expect them at Invictus next year. But the Mantis fighter, that is something that could be an Invictus ship, because it's something that has been in development and had been seen in code previously. So it's not in a sense that new ship.
Yeah.
So
I want to directly address the person that asked this question. I don't believe that this new less features, more focus on refinement is a new thing. SIG did not wake up on January 1st and say, oh, well, let's do this. This has been planned. After server meshing, they're going to do this. I don't believe that any of those ships that were planned to start in the next 18 months are going to get pushed off of that blue slide list.
100%. In fact, if anything, Star Citizen Live indicated there's more ships than on the blue silhouettes.
Agreed.
Because we've got those 2 new fighters.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's a natural conclusion. They went from 24 to at least 52, from what you and I can ascertain, people on the ship team, right? That's almost doubling in a 12-month period. You have to assume that means more ships are coming. We know it's 52 because when we asked them, we were asked, "Oh, you're doing it for the whole team? That's 52." Or But you get my
when
point,
we did the
right?
T-shirts.
But you get my point, right? That if they've got more people means more ships. It's just that simple. And so when you work that through, it's just where is the rollout from that, right? Like, is it still another 12 months away, or have there been things working in the background this whole time? We just don't know. Oh, that's what he was asking. Apparently, we don't know what we don't speak American. Apparently, I didn't. Yeah. Well, what did we miss? What did we miss from that question? That was just how I saw the question.
Oh,
let's see.
Well, when he further clarified the question in chat, he was asking how the focus changed, and I just don't think it did.
No, I don't think it did either.
I think they always plan to do a quality of life thing and consolidate the foundation once server meshing was finished. It's just taken longer than that they would have liked, and now they've got enough server meshing done. They've kind of gone, I think we can start to do some of the quality of life stuff now, because they also know that they've only got 2 years, well, a year now or whatever, to Squadron 42 comes out. So they need to get onto this because they want it to be seen more polished. I think it is a perception and marketing thing as much as it is quality of life for us. It's all, you know, like it has this bad rep of being this baggy mess. Like that, oh, it's a scam thing. When I ran into that guy in that game earlier this week, I was just, dude, go download the game and have a look, or, you know, or go look at the trailers. Like, you know, I think this is going to really be one of those games that until you can actually download it and play it, and people are going, this is damn amazing, or whatever they end up saying, then people may actually try it. And some people may never buy it just because they heard it was a scam, and you cannot convince them otherwise. But then they might pick up Squadron. Well, it was like the IGN comments. There were people in the Squadron 42 thing at Citizen going, this game looks amazing. And there were people saying, oh, I can't believe people are talking positively about Star Citizen. They go, it's not Star Citizen. And then there'll be 100 people going, yeah, it's Star Citizen. It was just hilarious to see that they did not realize it was the same game. So it just showed you how narrow the perception of a casual gamer is, or uninformed. Right. And I think that's not just a Star Citizen thing. I think you can pick a game, and we live in a time period where it is easier to believe what you hear than what you go find out for yourself. And I think that relates to so many things. I think if I drop the word politics, people would know exactly what I'm talking about on both sides of the aisle. And that's why I don't trust a single politician, is because they talk like that. They don't give you truths. It's all about perception. And I think it's the same thing. I think Star Citizen just has a bad perception to the greater gaming community. I think you'd agree with that, Algared, but you know as well as I, it's unfounded. Or it's not unfounded. That's not the right word.
I would say unfounded, but it's in terms of the depth that they go.
I think there's some
problems.
I think there are problems, but I think at the outset is that what kind of scam has been running for 14 years and they're still building it? Like, if it was a scam, it would be it wouldn't have gone anywhere. It would have withdrawn their money years ago. But I'm seeing progress and moving forward and stuff like that. And it is a very big game. That's why it's taken so long. But anyway.
And we're constantly seeing the concurrency numbers go up and the sale, I don't know what the sales are currently like at the moment, but last time we looked at what the sales were for this year, they were tracking well above last year.
Yeah, so right now we are by far on track for the biggest year ever for Star Citizen.
Yeah,
by
I agree.
Far.
I agree with that. And I said it to multiple streams, so I know you guys can back me on this. It'll be about 12 months from now, and this is last year, where we actually see the benefits of what they've been saying to come through. And I think we'll, as Lemming's saying, start to see that this year, because it's taken that, it's like a thing that takes time to build up. You move from a single player environment to a multiplayer environment. You got to kind of learn the little differences, and it takes time to build. You know, even at the end of last year where we saw base building in game, it was a massive change. I haven't seen anything like that.
And I mean, all of the offerings this year, at least to the veteran backers, have been kind of lacking. So we had the Hornets. Okay. I mean, the Hornets.
They're great. Yeah, nice to have. Not going to write home about it.
We have the Fortune, which is the same thing as a Vulture with a different skin on it. So not really exciting.
But you would agree with me though, they were both onboarding tasks, so they're probably the holdover from last year though. In fairness.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt that, especially the Fortune, like the Fortune is like, seriously, okay, new person, go rip the bags off of this existing ship and put a cargo grid on the outside and we'll sell it. I mean, yes.
So one thing I do want to talk about really quickly is supply or die, right? And I think this is relevant to what Lemming. I probably cut you off there. Did I cut you off, Lemming?
No, it's fine.
Okay, cool. We'll come back to it if you want to, right? But is how this is working right now. I think what's become really clear to me, and I've listened to Space and Paul both talk about this as well, is they have kind of worked internally on these things that they think are really, really cool. But there's a difference between playing the game and remembering what you know as a developer and what the player knows. And I think with the supply stuff, like, it's twofold. So nobody knew about the Frontier Fighters being the bad guys because nobody found any of the data pads because the game was bugged, right? And then it's the same thing here again on this quest is, why the hell would I do the medium and large ones when I can repetitively do the small ones to get it done quicker, right? And there is one quest that is so most notably more quicker than any other, to the point that people are literally standing at like it takes you an hour and a half to do one salvage mission, or I can literally do it in mere seconds if I stand at a console and just buy some stuff and then transfer some boxes. And I can do it all. I've only got to transfer it once, not multiple times. So, and the other thing is, once that is done, it's also highly profitable to keep doing it. So they're learning that you need to separate these. I hope they're learning that you've got to separate these things out. And I know I talked to you about this, Lemming, and I think I've talked to you about this as well, Algared, is like that they need to have it so there's like the missions that get you these items, and then maybe change the commodity or make it harder or something like that, because nobody's doing any of them. They're all just doing the same one over and over because it's so much. Even with all the lines, it's easier to do it.
So, did you see the patch notes this week? Because they directly addressed what you were just talking about.
All right. Well, I know they put the prices up, but you tell me, because obviously I might have missed something.
So they increased the prices by like 3,600%.
Doesn't do anything, right? Doesn't do anything. So money doesn't mean anything because you've got heaps of it, right? What else?
Right, but it's not profitable anymore to run it after the event. So that's
okay.
A big thing.
But didn't they also they turned up the refresh rate, but they turned down the amount that was put out?
Yeah, so somebody was reporting this, because I haven't done it because I'm done with the event.
Yeah.
That they've reduced it down to about 60 SCU per commodity per hour. And that's all that's coming out.
Yeah, it's really slow. And someone else is telling me now, to my knowledge, right? And I'm calling John Citizen out here, right? And he could be absolutely right, but someone needs to correct me on this, because I will possibly be wrong here, right? So from my understanding, say you have Arc Corp and Crusader, right? I'm just going to pick those two, so they're two different locations, right? Now at Crusader, if they drop a commodity, it is a separate pool to Arc Corp. Now what John was telling me, it was one global pool for all of Corundum. No matter where you drew it from, it was one pool of Corundum. Now, if that is the case,
I don't believe that to be true.
Yeah, I thought it was that there were individual locations. So, for example, the two main locations are Bajini Point and Magnus Station. So, if they had two separate pools, that would be fine. But I think they need more than two. I think they like the other thing that, again, you know how I was talking about the game being bugged. You can also buy this at Lyria and Daymar and stuff like that, but none of the cargo lifts work. So it's making the situation worse. This is what I mean about, yeah, the game works fine internally, but as soon as you put it outside and there's one little thing broken, it doesn't operate as intended. And I think this is like, how do I put this? This is bad for us right now, especially when you're offering items. But I would rather it go wrong here so they can fix it in the greater scheme of things. And I think you guys would agree with me on that one.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
We are teaching SIG how we are going to be bad.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. Absolutely.
That's good. But I like that because it helps G put in those controls or stops that are going to stop people being bad. In terms of the question that came in, that was, how are your March supply or die missions going? Good and bad.
What? Oh, here we go. Yeah, he's going to complain.
Good and bad.
Yeah, he's going to complain that I helped him. So Lemming helped me.
I am going to complain. Hey, Al, come and do these missions with me. We'll do the Citizens for Prosperity.
Well, that's
what did we end up doing? Because you clicked the wrong mission.
Lemming hasn't heard this, right? So Lemming, when I got down there, right, the first mission because I didn't, you never told me which mission I had to do, right? And I just
Yeah.
picked one and I did it, and I couldn't find the smaller one. I only had the medium one initially, so we handed a medium one, and I thought, oh, it'll just give me more rep. No, it didn't. It only gave me 300 rep. But it turns out it wasn't for Citizens Prosperity. It was for headhunters.
Oh no!
So you can actually do them for headhunters. So I did them all for headhunters, and I said, Algared, you got a choice. You can either do them for headhunters, or you can go do them on your own. And he's like, oh, stuff it. I'll just stop it, because I got all the blockers for him. And
No,
just
because
handed
at
them
that point, we joined for the first one.
in.
You picked the first one, which was Headhunters, and that cancelled because I
Yes.
shared off you.
Yes.
That then also locked me out of doing Citizens Prosperity. So we were going to do Citizens Prosperity, but because you hadn't looked at you're looking for the mission, couldn't find it, didn't realize there was Citizens Prosperity and Headhunter type missions. You just clicked the first one, locked us both out of doing Citizens Prosperity. So, yes,
That's really fun.
doing great,
Yeah, it's
but
hilariously
not
fun.
great. But the not greats are like minuscule.
So Algared, how does it feel to be part of a terrorist organization now?
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna put Algared's logo there for him. There he is. Breaking Bad, bro. Breaking Bad. That's his actual old Discord logo.
It is
that
my
he
old
used to-
Discord. Yep,
So, yeah.
because I had students who said I was Breaking Bad because I looked like Heisenberg, and I went, "Yep."
Mhm.
So, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Off to one side. Yeah. Two-faced.
Yep.
Dennis.
Hey, do you still need the
Oh, hi, Paul.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey, Paul.
just come on in. How you doing, man?
Just pop in and chat on the live stream. Why not?
hi chat? I'm getting ready for my own stream, but I realized too late that you needed the link for the bot.
We got it done. I managed to find
got it
it,
done.
and Piggles helped me out, so I found it. It's
Alright,
all good.
sweet.
Thank you. It's all good.
Hi,
When
Inforunners chat.
are we on
Love
for
ya.
tomorrow?
I think it's 2:30 my time, so 3:30 Eastern is when we set up. So it's 4:00 Eastern.
Can you
is the
send me
live.
can you just send me a Seshify time?
Two seconds?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. And just so I know what time to be awake, because I'm gonna have to redo my sleep, obviously. Yeah. We talked about some of the stuff you talked about yesterday, actually, on your stream, Paul.
Okay.
today.
I have a
Few
few
times.
minutes, so I can talk.
Yeah. Well, is there anything you want to get off your chest while you're here? I know there was a lot you got off your chest yesterday because I was listening.
Oh gosh, there's so many things. I think my most controversial take is I don't think that the item recovery system is that bad.
No, I don't think it's that bad.
It's not.
Yeah.
What it is it's going back 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
basically.
there are definitely going to be consequences for it. Like no doubt, like straight up, people are going to be more murder hobo-y than they've ever been before because there's just not as many consequences. And there's definitely some crafting issues. Like for instance, there's no reason for you to buy another player crafted gun once you have made a player once you've gotten one because you automatically come back with it. And as long as you repair it, you're fine. So unless there's some incentive to purchase a new gun, then you're basically screwing out players who want to specialize in weapon crafting. So there's definitely solutions to that problem, but that's a future problem. And the simple solution that I have is that if this is just the insurance system, then just you can get your stuff insured, and if you lose your gun, you don't get your gun back, but you get the money for its value.
Yeah, as Parker says, it's a stopgap, and it's a better stopgap than what we've got right now. It's just
it's controversial for sure. Looking even on Spectrum, like it was about like 700 up, like thumbs up, and like 500 thumbs down. So it's definitely more popular than it is unpopular. And I do think that a lot of people are making much ado about nothing in the end. I don't think it's going to change how the game plays right now because the game already plays with a bunch of murder hobos. The solution to the problem that people are mad at is
I've got a
reputation.
I've got a recording for you that you got to hear about Algared and just how his vocals go up when he hears about Kruger.
My question for you is, what are your thoughts on the
Kruger?
On the Kruger.
I like it. I like the design style. It's so unique, and it's very kind of within what the Kruger design style already is. So
yeah, like I when they first said 1950 style, I was no, but then as I listened to it a second and third time, I actually agree it does fit because that pristine, you know, all the hatches and everything just seamlessly lock up, which is precision, and that to me really ties in with what Kruger is about, you know, the precision and perfection.
Yeah.
So
and them leaning into an aesthetic that is unique to them in a way that is in like Star Citizen language and the design language is unique, so unique that it's a completely different sci-fi style, is so very Star Citizen.
Can I
Since
ask?
like every ship is its own like genre of sci-fi.
Can I ask? Do you see it a bit more luxurious, like Origin? Because that's how it's coming across to me as a lay.
Oh yeah, it's very Origin, but
Yeah.
it's Origin if Origin was like retrofuturism.
Yeah.
Origin is a lot more like
futurism
from like the 90s. It's like iPod
This is
futurism, you know, like
1920s, 1950s.
lines.
Yeah. I guess while I got you here, I'll also ask you about the RSI ones. So where the hell did I add a picture of those somewhere as well? Here we go.
I know some people are upset about them, but I'm like, I am okay with RSI having literally one ship in every category across the board.
I am too. Because well, that was the other thing.
RSI.
That was our
they're like
that was kind of
900 years old.
Because that was brought up by Disco, and that was at both our replay. It was having a go at content creators for saying they're all the same and stuff. And it's like, well, my initial response was the lore thing, and that even came up again today when we looked at Drake. Drake's only like 130 years old. I didn't realize they were so new, and that would explain
all the
why
ship manufacturers. Well, there's a theory that I have, which CIG has written about but never really explicitly talked about.
Yeah.
Which is at the end of the Mezzer era in 2790s, there suddenly is a complete lack of ships. Suddenly, all of the new ship manufacturers and ship companies are started at the very end of the 28th century and the beginning of the 29th century. And so my theory is, what do you do after a revolution? You go through the old regime and you either kill them or you imprison them. And the old regime ran everything. Yeah. So every ship manufacturer and parts manufacturer that wasn't like RSI or was tainted. And we know that that Aegis almost got the axe, but the only reason why they didn't was because they literally made all the ships they needed to like fight and defend themselves. So they
almost went under.
Yeah, they still got lost. They lost all their contracts.
Yeah.
So it's clear that like. And there's also like tons of stories of like the people who the original creators of what would become Apocalypse Arms were just basically like ran for the hills because they didn't want to get like caught up for war crimes. So it's likely what happened is that basically every ship manufacturer that was around at the time, other than Anvil, Origin, Aegis, and RSI, just collapsed, either because the founders cut and run, or because the revolution knocked them out, or because the UE specifically dissolved those companies so that they couldn't pose a threat anymore. So there was this huge gap of ship manufacturers, and no one thought ahead of being like, hey, maybe we should have the companies that make all our transports so we don't die. So what created what I call the cargo crisis, which is why we have the whole series, because the whole series was basically built specifically because like, the entire empire is in chaos. What if we saved them with our own ship? And that's how the whole series became so dominant.
So to bring this back to what Lando was saying, though, was I think the other side of this, though, is there are certain manufacturers, like I thought of Argo instantly, that have not been as filled out as they should. They're somewhere between Anvil and RSI from my memory. I think they're like 700 years or something like that.
Yeah, they're really old. They're like original,
but they've only
pre-UNE. They're almost as old as RSI.
Yeah, but they've only really got one style. Where you look at RSI, where they've possibly got 3, Anvil's got 2. Why doesn't Argo have 2? And that's what I think is very, like, as players, we need that extra context with to be filled out on some of the manufacturers.
Like a civilian version of
I said,
Argo.
So I'll bring it up real quick. Let me talk about this, and then I'll go to that. Right. So this is essentially a Mantis. That's a Pisces, and that's a Nomad. I think the other thing is these new concept guys are not as versed in the manufacturing stuff. I think they're still learning because that is just a dead ringer of a Pisces. That is so closely a Nomad. Algared even said he reckons it looks like a Terrapin. That's the only one that really looks RSI to me. I can see the cab on the Pisces, but it's just a Pisces. It's too similar to the other one. So yeah, that was my thoughts on that one. But
so it also looks very much like the Arastra too, because it's got the arms in front of it.
Yeah, I thought that the second one did look RSI. I can certainly see the Pisces in it, but I can also see that RSI influence, that Dorito shape, that new form. But yeah, the Mantis one certainly is RSI, and I like the way RSI has that change of style. You know, we've got three or four different styles of RSI now, and yet in every RSI we can still see that real strong RSI feel. And I think when backers say it doesn't look like an RSI ship, or it doesn't look like an Anvil ship, or it doesn't look, we're picking up a design language that is devoid. And it's not just that it's changed, we're saying it's too much like this other design, this other ship manufacturer. And I think part of the gameplay is to try and get those silhouettes so that you can actually look at a ship and say, oh, that's an RSI, that's a Drake, but yeah.
Right. So I'm bringing this up real quick. I'm doing it live as I always do. So I'll just kind of chuck it there, right? So me and Grim have been working on this on his streams, Paul. And one of the things you will know that oh shit, what did I do? Ah! I lost it. No, I lost it. What did I do? No! I have to do it again. I don't know why, but it just.
I saw Connie in the arms, so it's supposed to be some sort of like repair ship, right?
Yeah. So hang on, just let me get it back. Give me 2 seconds. Doing it live again. Second time lucky. But what it was we know that they wanted to do a UFO for Argo, right? Because the Argo had a round logo, which me and Algared at the time thought was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But basically, I'm trying to get Algared's face back. There it is. What the?
I think it's ending execute.
Yeah,
it's not looping.
It's not looping. Yeah, it's not looping. There we go. Right, that's what it was. Right. So what we went was, I said, let's try and take the UFO and put some circular motifs into them to get to the circular UFO, and that's why it's got this circular front. And I don't know if you can see, but on the very top there is actually the UFO. He actually made this really cool little UFO, and it's now gone even further where these arms actually now go out, and it looks like a dead ringer of the Enterprise. It's because they become like nacelles. As soon as you move them out, it's like, oh my god, it's the Enterprise. But as soon as you look at it from the front, it's completely different because you can actually see the cab. So it's only from above that it looks like the Enterprise. But I see he's knocked that out of the park, and I think
it's great.
I'm hoping this inspires CIG to actually start to put some circle motifs into their Argo stuff, and then eventually Chris may actually allow them to build the UFO they want to build. And I don't have the video, but I don't know. I might have to reach out to Space because he catalogs all this shit. But I need a copy of the UFO video they put up on IRC. Yeah. I don't know if you've got a copy, but I've been looking for one. And
I know.
Boy, I can't find one. So I might have to. You know how Space catalogs everything, so I'll have to reach out and see if he's got a copy. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. Yeah. And this was only 2 weeks in, and we were meant to do one this week, but he got held up, so it'll probably get kicked down the road to next week. Sorry, Lemon, go ahead.
So when I saw that, I was like, I mean, of course, other than the color, you paint it white, and oh my gosh, it looks Anvil to me.
Yep, and I could see that.
I could see that.
And look, but that's the thing, though. When we were talking to John and Ben, and they talked about the Argo having the flying saucer, we said, what? But that'd be flying saucer. Wouldn't that be Anvil?
Yeah.
And they went, no. And they literally pulled up the old Argo logo and said, see it, it's circular.
I think that was the other thing. We kind of realized how much of their lore that they don't understand or they don't follow. Like the thing that really shone was when Algared asked about the Ares, right? They just wanted, they literally just wanted a ship with a really big gun on it, and they wanted it to be Crusader. They didn't even give a shit about the lore, and so the whole lore got changed just because that's what they wanted to do. So they are not letting lore dictate what they do, but I think they're at the point now where they've got to allow it to do a little bit. you know.
But there's always
no, the argument I've always had is that CIG, there's a point upon which, with any development stage, whether for any creative endeavor, be it video games, movies, television, animation, books, doesn't matter, where you can play around with ideas and just throw cool things out there. But when things start to coalesce, when you start to have cohesive ideas, narratives, stories, characters, you need to start paying attention to those rules. And they've hit that moment, because the Squadron 42 is on its way out, despite what people will poo-poo about and say, oh, it's coming. It's going to come down that track sooner rather than later. And like in the next year or two, and 2026, maybe delayed to 27, but 26. And as a result, CIG has to start like reining in those creative endeavors, because it's like, now here are the rules. Once this is out, it's a release game, and it sets the tone for everything else. So,
and we even know from Dave Haddock, he said, look, we've got the storyline, but our storyline is a framework that we want to be able to enable the creators, the developers, to build that out and fill in the detail. But
I love how Luna Maria is just turned up and going, what's this ship? So what this was Grim's building it, but I've been kind of working with him and brainstorming on his stream. We'll probably be doing this again. It's Wednesday my time, Tuesday in the Upover. It's Tuesday evening. I think it's around, I don't know his actual time, but it's about 9 p.m. People are saying that CIG should hire Grim, but then Grim would have to move to Manchester. So I don't think he's prepared to do that with his family as well. I just think it's a really cool experiment. I have not got to stretch my brainstorming, creative, gamer concepty muscles in about 15 years. So I just, like, when he started doing this, I just jumped on and I wanted to participate. And he hasn't told me to piss off, so it's been really fun. And I still let him make all the decisions. I'm just chucking shit at him and see if it sticks. And the other really cool thing is we've had doing votes with chat as well, asking chat for names. So the best name we've heard so far for this is the Argo CRFT, the Argo Craft. And the UFO is literally the Argo UFO, and it's the craft was like creative something fabrication transporter or something like that.
Assembly.
No. Well, it didn't have
technology.
It didn't have A in it, so it's just C, because it's 4-letter acronym.
CRFT.
Yeah, CRFT. It was like creative. I can't remember the R. Shem Pasta came up with. Shem Pasta, what was the acronym again for craft? He'll do it. Craft. Shem Pasta. I knew you came up with it. Yeah, there you go. Craft. No, he didn't have the assembly the first time, so it was capital repair, fabrication, transport. No, I prefer it without the A, because it's got to be 4 letters. Yeah, like that. Capital repair, fabrication, transport. I think that is perfect. And then the other one was UFO, and I did this one myself, but other people had good ones as well. It was Unified Fabrication Orbiter. And I thought they were both two really sick names. And I just from the little UFO alone, I want the little UFO, but I will take this entire ship if they build it. And essentially what it became is, you got the Pioneer that builds buildings. This builds ships. That's it.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the other nice thing about this is a like
floating
Argo.
basically.
Yeah, it's basically a dry dock. But in terms of an Argo ship, it does have Argo language. I can see Argo language in the back of that circular thing, but it's also a totally different look.
Well, believe it or not, he kit bashed this from the raft, the mole, and then he put the circle thing in and stuff like that later. So it's just got elements of all of them.
Yep, and you can see that very strong Argo feel, but it's also a totally different style of ship.
Well, also the nacelles
that fits in with that age of the company.
The nacelles off the Enterprise are not actually engines. The engines are on the sides. No. So we've talked about making it compact up as well. We've talked about, do we make it so it flies essentially backwards like the Vulture, or do we, because it has a cab on both sides at the moment. It's got the construction cab at the back there, and then as the front comes around, you can see there you go, you got another cab there at the front. So it's just, by the way, he even took the UFO off the top and use the bottom of it on the bottom of this ship. So he's taken his own ships that he's built and put them back into it. So it's got little bits of Argo all over it. So yeah, if you want to join in on that, I'm happy to have people. And I know there are people here in this chat that were there, like Shem and a few others. It was a really enjoyable process, bouncing things backwards and forwards in chat. And I think we all had a really great time. And I like that collaboration practice. So I'm going to take off my happy hat now. And
Yep. And before you disappear, Paul, I'm going to chuck in and ask you to join us on the next question. It's kind of a segue from the variation of ships, and it's how do you feel about the Mantis styled heavy fighter?
I mean, I'm fine with it. Like I said, I believe that RSI should be everywhere with everything. It should have the same style or similar styles, because even CIG creating creating ships is a storytelling device. And if everyone's like, I'm so tired of all these generic RSI brands, then CIG's done it right. Like then they have nailed like exactly what should happen. RSI should be functional. It should be utilitarian. It should be consumer grade. It should be cheap and easy and effective, and people.
And it should be everywhere. Yep.
Yeah.
So I have a couple questions for you actually too, if I can get the right ones open. Nope. Let's be this one. Nope. It's this one.
Apollo.
Nope. Yeah, I know what that is. Stop giving the game away, Paul. They can't see. Right.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think they can see this.
Yeah. What do you think this is, Paul? If you had
it's not Drake.
Yes.
I know everyone says it's Drake.
Yeah, and
I don't think it's Drake.
And I've had I had two CIG developers tell me it was not Drake. One of them started to backpedal, but I don't think. Why do you think it's not Drake? Tell me. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Because it's too simple.
It's too simple. No, don't you mean Drake is too simple?
No, I'm saying that the answer to that being Drake is too simple.
Oh,
it could be anything from an alien manufacturer, because who knows, someone maybe got a bee in their bonnet, wanted to do something. It could be a off the wall design from another manufacturer, because like CNLU just does what they want, you know, because they're space Tesla, so they're just going to do that kind of thing.
Okay, well, I got another quick question for you then that's along those lines. How do you think it flies?
Probably like shit.
No, not. Does it fly horizontal? Does it fly vertically?
I think if it's not like, if it's something like a Mirage ship, then it's going to be like vertical.
Yep.
But if it's anything else, it'll be horizontal.
Because where we went with this, to cut to the chase, and I just wanted to see what you thought, and I want to just speak your own words first. It's see the fin there that comes down on the right. The only other ship that's got a fin like that and that flies vertical is the Reliant.
It could be a big Reliant.
Algared actually pitched it. This is a rework for the Reliant at one point, and and that's kind of the lines we went down. And
I argued the point that it wasn't Drake, because you were saying it rotated, and I said that's not a Drake mechanic. That's not. That would be. Drake don't do those fancy turny or twisty things because they're low tech. That's a high tech solution. That's a misship. That's a Reliant.
You're getting a little bit off topic for where I want to go though. So that's all correct. But again, if you look at the wings, one's really big and one's really small. When you make that symmetrical, because you know as well as we do, you have a fake asymmetry in this game. And so basically it has to be symmetrical. And when you do that, it can only fly vertical, because if you put those out, one wing is really big and one's really small, it's not going to work. So it has to be a vertical flying. And when you do that, that basically puts it in the same manufacturing tier as the Reliant or Mirai. Now, I thought it was Mirai purely because there was a combat guy here. We've now had ships come out that doesn't always line up, because we had things like that with the Fortune, and we had there was another ship, I can't remember which one it was, but basically they don't line up anymore. So this could be anything. But I think you would agree, based on how badly the Reliant went, I don't think they'd make it a combat fighter. It just doesn't line up for me anymore.
Well, the thing is that what it reminds me of is Star Wars. Like that is clearly inspired by Star Wars, kind of like how the asymmetrical of the Corsair was inspired by Star Wars.
B-wing, slave, and that type of thing.
Yeah. And if we're looking at this in that kind of way, knowing what CIG wanted to do in the future, I could see this as at most being a bounty hunter ship, but likely being some sort of transport. It tells me that it could fly funky, because again,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I think everyone going, oh, it's Drake because clearly it's inspired by the Corsair. It's like, yeah, but Drake has landing gear. This thing doesn't have landing gear.
It does, but it comes out like that from the bottom.
Yeah,
You can kind of see it.
it's not Drake-esque.
Yeah. The other thing is I don't think it's Raelian, because Raelian, if you look at the other Raelian ships we've got, they articulate a lot more and fold up a lot more when they land.
Yeah.
And
they're symmetrical.
And there's no wings.
Yeah.
They don't have wings on any of their things. They've got those, you know. And the other thing that shows that it's not Drake is there's almost like a round turret thing there. See where those two sticks are sticking out? Drake doesn't do curves. They are all bendy.
Even their turrets are like flat.
So. Yeah. Then lastly, what I've got here is the other one, not the Apollo, because I deleted the Apollo, is what do you think this one is? I'm not going to hang during quarter. I'm just asking you for your best guess. So, yeah.
I'm trying to remember what, because like I remember we looking at it. I think this may have been the one that everyone was like, that's the Apollo. If you look at it,
no. The Apollo is clearly that other one I opened up earlier when everyone else couldn't see, which was, I think is it this one? I'll just try and open it. It's probably gonna. That's the Apollo. That one's the Apollo, right? Yeah. So it's not the Apollo. Do you want to tell me what we think it is? And I've had this brought up by a couple of people that know people at CIG, so they've asked people as well, and I'm hearing it back through multiple channels, is that this is possibly Consolidate Outland, which makes a lot of sense when they're working on the Pioneer. And
they usually have the smaller test models that they do. So.
Yes, and this would be a medium ship in line with the Spirit and the Zeus. So it would come out at CitizenCon maybe this year, maybe next year. But also, just besides Algared's head where that gas can is, actually, I can probably do it with a mouse pointer. Hang on.
Yep.
Give me a second. Mouse pointer. Just here. That is actually a Mustang leg directly ripped off the Mustang. It actually kind of goes down and comes forward like that. You've got to go into like Photoshop and play with all the colors and stuff, but you can actually do it. Then you've got these little triangles that appear in the ladder. You've got the shape of the lights and stuff like that, and also the shape of the actual hexagon head is very Nomad, Consolidate Outland, Pioneer. If you go actually, I don't know if it's actually in the video from the one they did on ISC, but see I don't know, you can kind of see it just a little bit there. There's a little triangle in their struts, and if I can get a better angle, I don't know if there's any other here, but if you go back to the CitizenCon video, there are triangles in a lot of their struts. There is one just there, but it's on an extreme sideways angle. But they're the same as what appears in that ladder. So yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you and see what you think. But because I haven't had a chance.
Can I toss a question at Paul?
The one thing I will say is we're going to find out real quick.
Yes.
A lot of these are coming out every month. We're going to get a new ship dropping straight to flyable, you know. So it'll be interesting to see. I can see that for sure. I mean, CNOU definitely needs more, and like it's clear that CIG staff is definitely beefed up. So we're looking at what, 51 individuals in the ship team, which is the biggest I think it's ever been.
Well, I think this might be a ship delivery ship, because you know how you can build ships on the Pioneer and stuff like that, and it's got that medium, I think it's a medium small hangar or whatever. I think this will fit in that, and it can pick up the vehicles, because notice that's very low belly, so things can drive into it. I think that's what it could possibly be, but that's only speculation on my point at this part. But we'll have to
kind of like a similar open back design to the Nomad, but like deeper. So it's
kind of. Take
the
that.
bed is much further back, so you can like. We just don't see it because that top is covering it, but it's like sort of deep wells, so you cover the whole ship.
Yeah, well, it could be for a single large vehicle. We don't have anything that's a dedicated vehicle transport for a single large vehicle. So it could do, and again, you could look at the variant. So you could have a military variant that's more armored, and you could have a normal variant, you know? Lemming, you wanted to ask Paul a question? Sorry, you kind of got cut off.
Yeah, so I know how closely Paul watches the monthly reports. So the monthly reports for the last 2 months have had 0 updates from the ship team. Do you think that means anything? Are they just working on a bunch of stuff that they don't want to talk about?
So the monthly reports are a little different than other things. There are times when the teams just go quiet, and that usually either is because there's nothing for them to talk about, or they don't want to update because they don't have a solid update from the last time they were doing things. Because the one we got in February, I want to say, or the one we got in for January and December, or no, was it January? Yeah, I think it was January, where they just
the one for
they just word vomited all of the ships that are in gray box and white box.
yeah, that was November and December.
Okay.
And yeah, like 5 ships either completed or entered or something, white box and gray box, and that's the last that we've heard.
So I think it's mostly just because they probably just haven't had time to give an update. So I wouldn't read too much into it. If it's like, because they are releasing ships, and
yeah, definitely
they're doing other things like this SCL. So it's clear they are doing it. It just it also could just be that they knew they were going to do this SCL. So Tyler made the call to be like, we're not going to publish this because there's no point to, because we're just going to get all this stuff in an SCL. Every so often they do that, though. They do often double print, so like they'll print something and then they'll do a video on it at the same time. So it's just kind of like meh. But that's usually with like the roadmap rather than the monthly report.
It's
okay, cool.
It is unusual though. He is right. Like they often at least have a little bit every month, and there's just been nothing.
They've ship team sometimes goes quiet.
Yeah,
I've seen it happen a couple times.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta head out.
All right.
Subscribe to the Inforunners. Please join our. Well, do we want to talk about this?
We did talk about the Discord a bit. People have been asking that. But I'm having a lot of trouble getting through to a person. I actually got an email just before from, I don't know if it's a person, but it's a different person I'd never seen before. So I sent them an email and said, "Are you human?" Because I keep getting responses that are from bots. And I just said, look, I want to talk to a human. I'm just trying to make sure that you're human. Because I just keep getting answers from these bots and I'm over it. And if he replies that he's human, I'm just going to then lay out the whole situation. Because I'm just sick of typing it. So
yes, subscribe on YouTube, hit the bell icon, like the video. I want to hear in the comments below, if you're watching this after the fact, if you're watching this on your break, I want you to hear your thoughts on any of those ship ideas that are coming out.
Where can people see me and you tomorrow, Paul?
YouTube.com/the Captain's Table Podcast and twitch.tv/theastropub. That's where it's living now. So come join us live on the new YouTube, where all of the Captain's Table will live forever.
And what's the topic? So people know.
The topic is going to be PvE versus PvP. So we're going to be talking about the discussion that everyone's been talking about we need PvE servers and stuff like that. Is
that 3 or 4 p.m. Eastern, or what time you call it?
It's 4 p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
Can you send a message to Grim, because he said he was possibly free. So if you want to get, unless you've got someone else,
I sent a message to him already,
cool.
And he said he was good. I'm just going to send him the link again. Make sure he's good. Yeah.
Too easy.
He's good.
All right. So me, you, and Grim tomorrow. All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Too easy.
Ready, y'all.
All right.
Bye.
Take care, Paul. All right. Shem Pastor has a question for us.
Sure.
Shem Pastor asks, which one would you pick between the Ironclad or the Ironclad Assault?
Oh, so that was a really good question when Paul was here.
I know I did have it, but he was already
halfway out the door.
Had said he wanted to go, and it was like,
yeah, there you go. He ended up getting an Assault, but I think he's going to prefer the Ironclad. I personally would go the Ironclad. I think it's a bit more versatile. I think the Assault is literally more combat focused, and it's all about ground assaults. I think we have other vehicles kind of based around that, just like we do. Excuse me, have other vehicles based around cargo.
Yep.
But I would personally, I just love the bucket nature of that Ironclad. You can pull it up under a ship, dump all the ship out of it, like the what was that game? Starship Hardships. What was it the Hardship Shipbreaker?
Yeah, Shipbreaker.
And just dump all the stuff into it real quick, and then take off and.
Oh, you're such a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah, exactly. For us law-abiding citizens, collectors of goods.
Go on. Go on, let me.
So I went Ironclad Assault for me, because I also have a Liberator, and I think that those are.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can see that.
That's why I did that.
Yeah, no, there's no wrong choice. They literally said, "What would you prefer?" It is a personal preference. It's not a And again, like, you might really be into Battlefield and really going to be into that future grain. Put it this way: I've got CCUs to both. If I have an even slight inkling now, I just pick up a CCU and I sit on it, and the ship comes out and I don't like it, I just melt that and turn it into another CCU. You know, and I know Lemming does that, and I know you do that, Algared, and I don't think there'll be many that don't do it.
I like to have all the collection, which is a bane. And certainly my OCD aspect there is suffering significantly at the moment.
Now, you don't have
of those two.
You don't have to say this if you don't want to, but can you tell them what I found out this week about what you've got? You don't have to if you don't want to.
What have I got?
The gift you were given for 100 million.
Oh,
because I think that's so cool and so unfair, but I'm jealous as hell. And I think that would be really cool if you've told them what they gave you. But I'm not going to force you to tell them if you don't want to. It's up to you.
Well, at the 100 million, because I think it was partly because of the person who'd complained about 75 million not getting their scythe. They gave that person at the Citizen Con, they announced that person was getting a scythe, and the person who cost 100 million was getting the scythe and lifetime subscription to the
he has a lifetime subscription to the subscriber flare. Son of a bitch. He gets it all for free.
millions of rep for
So
that doesn't get used.
He's literally getting all the shit, all the armor, all that stuff. Lucky mofo.
But I had like 5 years paid up previously anyway, because every year you paid up, you got your discount coupons. So
Well, didn't you say you got 20% discount codes or something the other day or something? And I'm like, where'd you get 3? How many subscriptions have you got? And that's where it all came out, that he gets them for free. I was like, that's not fair.
Yeah, look, I'd be happy if they said, no, that's it, we're taking it away, because it's putting. I'm happy to take it. I'm happy to have it.
Yeah. Ash in chat says 100 million what? In funding is what you're talking about, isn't it?
100 million rec.
Yeah. No. You passed the one.
Sorry.
Algared bought a javelin that pushed us over the line for 100 million.
Because it needed to be an auspicious ship for such an auspicious amount, because no game is ever going to need more than that much.
Famous last words.
You know, but I've always maintained that CIG shouldn't be giving rewards for people who cross those markers. And so I then made sure.
Have they?
No, and I made sure I crossed 150 and the 200 million too, and reiterated that.
Yeah.
But that's also where the old man Hurston comes from, because at 200 million, jokingly chatting with Sandy, I said, "So, what do I get? Do I get a moon?" And she's, "What do you want, Hurston?" and my response was, "Nah, they've strip mined it." But when Paul heard that, Paul decided that I was clearly old man Hurston. So.
Yeah, and that's where it all came from. But 790, we're almost at 800 million.
So where crazy. Are we? If you have a look down at the bottom for the.
That's for the year, but I just wanted to look. There's total up there on the top left. Yep. So yeah, but we can scroll down and have a look at it.
Scroll down to the bottom and see how the year is going, and there you go. We are well and truly above
last year.
So February screaming well into March.
It actually scares me. We're less than 2 months to Invictus.
Yeah.
No sleep. Right. Yeah.
We're 2 months. 2 months for sales, and we're basically over almost over a third of a year.
It's $100 million, right? So when so they've currently raised almost $800 million. Way back when we were at $100 million, Algared was the person that brought. So we were at like 999 million, and he brought the ship that got us over 100 million.
Yep.
Yeah.
And thought, and it's got to be a big ship, because we're never going to need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Well, I don't even think CIG thought they'd need that much back in the day.
Subgenus, let us know if you still don't understand, and we'll explain again. But yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy.
But looking at this chart here, I don't see a reality that we finish March this year like at a lower point than we finished April of last year.
No, I
Like
can't.
the-
I can't.
It's
Yeah.
Just
really
looking at it, I can't see that either.
it's really obvious what happened last year. CitizenCon and AIE were the 2 months that failed us. And
Yeah.
me and I have been on this a few times, Lemming. So I'd like you to tell us, what do you think made us fall short in CitizenCon
in CitizenCon.
and AIE? Because look, you can both clearly see they are smaller than the year before, but every other month is larger. So what do you think that caused it?
So I think one of the big problems was the extreme number of North American backers not able to watch CitizenCon live because
True.
it was rough here.
What, just laggy or late at night? Or
No, like, so it started at 9 a.m. UK time, which is 4 a.m. East Coast time.
I've got this
or
question.
midnight.
I've got this question for you. Have you ever heard of Australia? This happens here
Right.
frequently every day
Right.
of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But most of, well, not most of, but a lot of the crazy people that buy everything are in the United States, I think, or
so-
these time zones.
So our audience is roughly 50% USA, right?
Yeah.
And I would say USA is still, like, globally, they are worth 33% of the entire GDP of the entire planet. Right?
Yeah.
So I would say that you could say that USA is a vast majority of purchasing power globally. But if you take some of the other nations, they actually, like, if you put, I think you've got to put like Russia, India, and China, and a couple of the others together, they do actually beat the United States. But again, that's multiple countries. So I think singular country, USA is the biggest, yes, is what I'm trying to say.
And I also think last year kind of became critical mass for getting drug along for 4.0.
Do you think it was anything to do, because Algared and I was wondering if the Galaxy thing was a part of that as well when me and Algared brought that up?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's
No.
Yeah, we were just curious. So you reckon it was just that the CitizenCon was at the wrong time? Okay, so that explains CitizenCon. What about AIE? I know I'm putting you on the spot here. Sorry.
I don't even remember what released during AIE.
That's a really good question. I have to go back. The
It was
Starlancer,
Intrepid
Starlancer Max,
and Polaris,
Intrepid,
right?
yeah, and Polaris. So the Intrepid wasn't very well received. The Starlancer Max had already been announced at CitizenCon, and you could buy it there, but it released there. And the Polaris, and there's one other, and I'm just trying to. It came. Oh, the Guardian. The Guardian came later, but that's also why the Guardian that month was huge. Look, it's almost twice as big as the year before. So I think you could. Yeah, I don't know. It just.
Also, AIE was later this year, so it went into December more.
Not really. I think it was only 2 days longer because the earliest it's ever been is the 18th, and the latest it started is the 23rd, and I think it started on the 22nd or something like that. I'd have to go back and check. So it wasn't the latest, but yes, it was later. But yeah, so I'm just trying to look for people's. Everyone that wanted a Polaris already had one. I feel. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm just reading some things in chat, see what people. Anvil, the Paladin, and the Paladin also wasn't received too well because people thought it was standing on the Redeemer. So yeah, you're kind of right. There's a few ships there that were either done and dusted or poorly received. Yeah, okay. I think that explains IAE to me as well. So the CitizenCon from the United States thing, I didn't really think about because I was on the ground at the time in the UK, so I didn't have that. But I can tell you from previous years, like when it's in the USA, me and Algared get absolutely screwed over. We've got to get up at like 4 a.m. in the morning.
Now, interestingly, a comment from Lena Maria saying USA is majority market share in Star Citizen.
I would agree.
They are one of the main market shares, but per capita, Australia trumps everyone.
Well, here's another way to put it, right? Because this is what I was trying to imply.
That's because of Algared alone.
No. I wish it was just because of me alone, but no. It was, unfortunately, I went to one of our first Bar Citizens, and we were talking about half a dozen of us talking, and someone said, "Do you realise that in this group, there's like 3 or 4 million or $2 million worth of backing or something like that, with an obscene amount of backing.
Yeah.
And this is when we've only got like 100 million or just over 100 million.
So this is what I was trying to explain before, and I didn't articulate it properly. So I'm going to try and do it like this, right? Oh, fuck. Goddamn, too small.
So I'll add this too, is that if you ever want to feel humbled by your Star Citizen fleet, go to a Bar Citizen.
Yeah.
Like, I have a fairly large fleet. There's like people that are like double and triple Legatus and stuff like that going to Bar Citizens.
Yeah.
I get humbled going to Bar Citizens.
So can I just show this for a minute, right? So this is the other thing I want you to look at as an American, right? Now, I know you're talking about this is the biggest market per capita, right? As a singular country. You're looking at it in countries, and that's not how we need to look at this. We need to look at it in time zones. Now, I still agree that you guys would be very big even based on time zone, but I think if you started to get over to Europe over there and you start to merge a lot of those countries together, that would be, if you included all of Europe,
if you merge for time zones.
Yeah, and then you start to include Asia. Like, because if we essentially had daytime from, like, it was late at night in England, but early in the morning in Australia, that would definitely be a bigger population than all of the United States. You'd have to agree on that.
So let's look and see. So let's say that CitizenCon goes back to LA. I know it's never going to, but it goes back to LA. So the doors open at 9 a.m. In LA. So that's noon Eastern, and then that's 5 p.m. in the UK. People will definitely watch eight hours because that'll only put it until 1 a.m. So from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the UK. The only people that are really screwed when it's in the US are the Aussies.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to be honest, that's how it should be, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. So it needs to be good for people from like LA to, I can't reach my arm far enough before it goes off the screen. But I'd say like before it gets to Russia. So essentially from red on this map to that red over there in the Africa, Netherlands type of area. Yeah. I think that's the window you really want to try and hit every single time. Yeah. But the other thing is you've got to be realistic. Wherever you are doing this in the world, they have daylight and nighttime cycles. So yeah, I don't know how much it costs them to do these citizen cons, but I almost feel like when they did the whole day and then half a day, I'd wished it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it was 3 half days. So you could enjoy it more and you could still mingle and stuff. And the worst part about the second day was we came out to get food and all the food shit was closed.
Yep.
What a waste of, like, they were literally selling them an hour earlier, but why would you close when you could have it open? All the money would have made of people buying as they left.
Because that was and they were controlled by a centre, not.
Yeah, the center was stupid. The center made so many mistakes. It was not funny.
I know one thing that we're kind of skipping over here is that ginormous orange country, right?
Sorry. Oh,
right,
China. Yeah, China's massive. Yeah. We get a lot of what China do because we are in a similar time zone to China. So you can also see, it's why we get on with Morph a lot too, because Morph is in a similar time zone to us and stuff, right? So we relate to a lot of people in that China time zone. Russia people just don't have the money, but there are a lot of Russian Star Citizens. I'll freely agree. But I'd say the gap is essentially the Middle East. There is Middle Eastern people, don't get me wrong, but population wise, it really drops off. So the 3 big marks are, the Americas. We know we've got people from Brazil and that, but they would never be as big as the population of Northern America, Canadians and all that. And I think you would agree Alaska would drop off a lot.
Yeah.
Yep. So essentially it's this area and Europe, and then I'd probably say China, and that does not include Australia. But Australia just happens to be happy in the area. And I think you put it this way, I think you're far more likely to get a CitizenCon in China at this point than you are ever to get one in LA again. But
Yes.
but from everything we've learned over the years, they like to do citizen cons. Well, they learned that when they came down to Australia, right? The whole reason they came to Australia was Sandy is an Australian, so she got to come home and see her family and all that, so it was a bonus. But to actually do it here was really difficult to set up, and they had to bring a lot of equipment with them, and it cost them a fortune. So they're never going to do one here again. I'll do a bar
tyranny of
citizen.
distance will.
Yeah.
Tyranny of distance kills us. You
Yeah.
know, and
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh, you wanna-
and you know, even when we're talking to Sandy and we're talking the whole idea, you know, it's, we need an office in Australia.
Yeah.
But that was also at the point where saying, you know, we've been talking about COVID actually made CIG realise that they needed to be more centralised rather than spread abroad like they had been. So the international idea of different offices and being able to work 24 hours was great. But the problem was when they had problems and you just arranging those meetings. And so COVID, in a sense, ended up having them, focus on Manchester and Frankfurt.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting thing. Someone just asked in chat. Sideways Togue says, "What if CitizenCon was held was Montreal, Canada?" It is more centrally located because LA is all the way over here. Austin, Texas is really like if we're going sideways, it's not that much more. It's about there, isn't it? You're the American Lemming. You got to guide me.
It's 2 hours away.
So
it
would be in
2 hours in time zones.
So it'd be in this time zone instead of this time zone. So it's really not that much more. But Montreal,
it's the blue one.
Now Montreal was in the yellow. Am I?
I don't think so. I think it's in the green.
It's in the green. So it's at least 2 more over. I'm going to be honest. Realistically speaking, if you look at the 3 big areas, Manchester probably is the most middle you're going to get. Because you've got all of America, all of Europe, and you've got the big China block as well. So
within reasonable time frame.
Yeah, and I guarantee you 2026 is going to be in Manchester because it's Squadron 42. It's now the pinnacle studio. We learned a lot of that. They've moved a lot of people to Manchester.
Yep.
Like David Haddock doesn't live in America. Disco doesn't live in America anymore. They've moved them all to the same studio. They're trying to get them all under one roof because of what happened during COVID.
So tinfoil hat moment for everybody, including chat. We are at March 7th. I believe we are 2 weeks after the Save the Date last year came out for SitCon. Does that mean anything?
It does. Where the hell's this thing? So we actually heard from Batgirl, who also talks to Sandy and Chris a lot. If you know, those of you that have followed the game for a long time will know who Batgirl is. Not everyone does, but she used to do a lot of. She did Ben's Days, which was a Tuesdays with Ben when Ben used to work at the company, and she did that like every week, right? So she had a lot of contacts, and she's very close. She's really into the game, like a lot of us. Anyway, she heard that there is no CitizenCon this year. And it's got to do with the World Tour stuff. Now, you can still go onto the Spectrum forums and see all the stuff about the World Tour. They are going around all around the world to these bar citizens, and that's probably why we're not having a CitizenCon, because they had to commit to those. And on top of that, they were actually expecting the game to be out by now. It was really obvious to me, and things that me and Algared heard in the background, that CitizenCon was meant to be the release of Squadron 42, and there's a lot of that kind of tips the hand to that as well still. But when we knew it was cancelled was when the gala got cancelled, because that was really obvious, was like, it's not on anymore. And that was like 2 weeks after we booked our tickets, and we're like, damn it.
Yeah, so we got the Save the Date last year. I just went and looked it up. It was on February 3rd. So we're over a month now past the Save the Date of last year. Does that mean anything? No. But I mean, if you put on your tinfoil hat,
well again,
and I don't think it's necessarily bad.
But Batgirl doesn't tend to put information out there that is misleading. So if she's saying that there's no CitizenCon, I would believe her. And you got to remember, when it's in America, she is one of the leaders of organizing CitizenCon. For example, when it was in LA and Austin, she is the head person that does all the tickets. So she's the you know that when you walk into CitizenCon and they're giving you bags and stuff, she's organized all that. She runs the whole thing. So she knows exactly what she's talking about, right? And so when she comes out and says that, I believe her. I don't even question it. So what someone in chat said, Architect TV said, didn't they do a virtual CitizenCon a few years back? I think that's what we're probably going to get.
Yep.
Agreed.
I don't think we'll
Yep.
have an in-person one.
No, I think
and
you're right.
it'll probably all be pre-recorded like it was one of those years.
Yeah, and the other thing that kind of hints to that is because they'd planned for release a squadron, because they were planning the world tour. That kind of leads into, and you think, okay, and they kind of planned and started to book and do everything else.
Yeah.
That actually makes the 26 release a squadron make sense.
Yeah.
It does.
Because they've already booked, so you've got to.
The other thing I just want to add really quickly though is, and Jorek says this, and I agree with him. The latest they've actually done a CitizenCon announcement though was in June, so it could go. That was on June. I would say June 16th, right? And he is technically correct. So I don't think it is going to be the case. Jorman Rekt. John,
Yeah.
I'm probably butchering his name, sorry. But that is the window we have to wait to. We have to wait to June to say this is confirmed that we're not having a CitizenCon this year. But I think it's highly unlikely.
I think that was the first one after COVID, though,
Yeah.
right?
And
So they wanted to make sure that COVID was clear.
And they've been a lot more proactive in announcing them early so people could get accommodation and stuff. So, and that's been the go for like since that one, because that one was really late.
Yep.
And it affected a lot of ticket pricing and stuff. Like you couldn't get cheap hotels in LA because they were all gone, because it was only a couple of months away. It was like literally 3 or 4 months away. When they announced it in, I think one year they announced it in February, then they cancelled it because of COVID. So that was in 2020. They announced it really early, and then they decided to cancel it like the next month because it was so the earliest has been February and the latest has been June, and that's quite a large window. And I think CIG might not come out and say it to the very last minute. Oh, we're doing a pre-recorded CitizenCon or something like that, because they know they're going to get blowback to it, you know. Or they'll say something so we can work on the game.
I don't think it'll be pre-recorded. I don't think it will be, but
it was just easier to do it pre-recorded because they Disco's got a hard on for production values. So he wants it to look, he wants to have it look really, really good. Where I'm just happy to have them do it from live inside one of the studios. Like you could do it out of the at Manchester. They could do it out of the recording. What's the not the ship, the motion capture studio. They could do it in there, and I'll be totally.
Yeah, you could do it in motion capture. You could even do it in areas in the studio. You could even do it.
They could have even done it in game. Can you imagine how cool that'd be if they actually modeled Chris Roberts, modeled Sandy, or modeled a few people, John Crew and that, put their models in game, and then mocap live into the game, and you could watch it in game on the. Oh, that'd be mad. But I know that's extra work. That's extra work, but it would be cool.
But have them even
Yeah.
With the technology, do they actually need them to be?
They could be walking around with Jax at the actual convention.
Yeah,
that'd be mad.
Yep, having Jax talk to them and do stuff, and look, there's plenty they could do. But I'd like to see them do a lot of if it's a virtual CitizenCon, I'd like to see live panels rather than just a recorded panel.
Yeah.
But that's just
Look, if they do, maybe for this year, I might just come up to Sydney and we can do a bar citizen around CitizenCon and do a watch party or something. Yeah, if you want,
maybe we could do that. Yeah.
And we'll try and get some other Aussies together around there.
Yeah, but I do like the idea. I like the idea of a digital CitizenCon. I would love to see, and this is probably way beyond what could be done. But a CitizenCon where they do an address from the forum floor of one of the conference centers, so people could turn up and rock up and sit in the conference center in game and have the address put out at game, just because it'd be that's the one. That is the one, Luna Maria. Yeah. Look, the only other real CitizenCon I feel like obligated to go to is one in America, because I went to the one in the UK, and I think I've got to kind of balance that out and go like visit people. But other than that, the only other one is probably the release of Squadron, because that's what I thought we were going to. Yeah. But going back to England the second time was not on my list. Yeah. For me, it's always hard, because if I want to go next year, I have to book up leave this year.
Yeah.
So even if I'm going to October next year, I have to book up leave this year to get in, just because that's what the nature of teaching. You try to avoid taking term time off unless
Well,
you're taking.
maybe you can go to the UK then, and I'll go to the USA or something like that.
So
yeah,
so that always makes it
I've never
difficult,
been to
but-
the USA, but I like through Inforunners, I've got a lot of friends, so it would be a.
Yep.
I definitely want to come and visit Lemming and swim in his pool. No, actually. Do you have a pool,
Yep.
Lemming? Or do you just go to the beach?
I mean, I don't have a pool, but my subdivision does. So
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, yeah. You guys have all those gated community things. I forgot about that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to bring us back to our questions because we've got about 8 or 9 questions to go.
Well, you do have to actually wrap up too. So yeah, please.
Yep.
We're
So
over time.
that's why going through these questions. So those
Thanks,
are
Dad.
confused of the question. Those are the confused says, what is the ship behind the cat armor in this week's sneak peek?
Oh, man, I actually went into my email deliberately looking for the sneak peek, and it didn't turn
I
up.
think it's a pulse.
Cut us to the chase. Shit, wait, do I got it up? Lemming? You got that same bad problem Algared has about spoiling things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was just the Orion racing suit with the Star-Kitten skin on it.
Yep. And the ship behind it is.
Oh, there's a ship behind it.
I thought it was a pulse because that
I didn't notice that.
flat piece looked like a seat to me.
Hang on. I'm just gonna zoom and enhance. Give me a second. Because we have-
Enhance.
wait,
Enhance.
No,
Enhance.
wait. We have the technology. Hang on. I've remembered something. Hang on. Just gotta find it. Yeah, here we go. Open in browser. You reckon that's the same? Yep.
I don't know.
It's that bit right there. You can see it. See the line and the line and pink bit there. It is. It's that pulse. It's that bit there on the pulse. The little line and the tick,
And that would make sense.
and the little line and the tick. Yeah,
The Star-Kitten pulse with the Star-Kitten skin.
yeah, which makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I reckon you're right there. And see the seat there. See, and there's the other line back there, which is this line. This line back here. Yep. Yeah, it's just the pulse in the background. So is the T's the armor or is the T's the pulse in the background? And I would argue it's the Star-Kitten pulse that they're trying to let you know about.
Yep.
But if you want a better view of it, it's actually in the same screenshot as the Perseus that they showed in that ISC, because it actually goes from her legs up to the horizon, and the sorry, I got distracted by Grim. Their legs as it goes up past it actually goes past this bike. So yeah.
So here's a question. How do you think that they're going to be doing this? Do you think it's going to be the same way that they did the Dragonfly?
So the other skins that are in the files are these three. I will open them really quickly, and I think you can answer your own question pretty quickly when I start opening these. Do they look familiar to what happened around this time last year with an STV? Do you remember?
So you think that there's a racing?
They're all racing skins, every single one of them. And
Yeah, you've got your brand logos on them.
yeah. So is Crux Cup? What do they call it? What's the one? So you've got Crux Cup and there's Damar Rally. What's the
Damar
one?
Rally.
What's the one they have? The Murray Cup or something? Isn't that what it's called? Murray Cup.
The CIG have the Murray Cup. Yep.
Yeah. So it'll be, and that is in. I think that's after March. I think that's in April, isn't it? It's a month before Invictus, from memory. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'd have to. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
the Murray Cup in Star Citizen was a ship race, not a vehicle race. So I'm not sure what they call their vehicle race.
Execute. Can you bring up a picture of a hover quad? Because I don't remember the. I'm sorry, not the hover quad. The pulse. I don't remember the pulse being so thick on the bottom.
No, I do call it Murray Cup. There you go.
March 2nd it says, so it could even be next month. Sorry, what was
Yep.
what, you want a picture of the hover quad? Did you say?
No, the pulse.
Pulse, Star Citizen, images. What are we looking at? The bottom.
Yeah, if you look at that leaked picture, the bottom of it looks thicker.
It's just the racing variant. because the racing variant doesn't have the gun and has a big engine at the back. And, and you don't not usually used to looking at it from the back, but that's so what these are taken from. These are the, you know, when you go in to apply a skin in the liveries, that's what they take from the files. This is just the liveries preview. That's why it's so tiny. But you can see that bike there. It's exactly the same as that one. Right? It doesn't have the gun on the nose. So that's why. And again, but it would obviously go on the racing variant because they're race bikes. But I don't know if they'll also allow you to apply those skins to the combat variant. I'll just call it that. I can't remember the actual name. The non-LX. The Pulse, not the Pulse. That's the Pulse LX. I don't know. Did you remember that from last year, Algared? They had like 3 or 4 different ST skins. You know what I'm talking about, yeah?
Oh, vaguely, yep.
Yeah. I'd have to look it up though, and I don't even remember what they called it. That's the worst part.
I do like the fact that they've got those racing skins that are clearly racing. Because it looks cool.
There they are. Nope. I don't know. I could be wrong here. Nope, not those ones. Did they actually have them down here? Did they actually apply them? These 2 were the ones that I remember. And I think they did have one for one of the bikes as well.
I want to say that there was subscriber flare last year.
Yeah,
for
like
racing
this
stuff.
See this one.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was.
Oh, was that last year?
Yeah, so it was for the Nox, the STV, and the Cyclone.
Which was, I think, wasn't that more in line with the Damo Rally when that came out, or?
I honestly can't remember because it wasn't an important event to remember. Like you only tend to remember the big ones. If someone even said the whirlwind paint. So yeah, it's probably around there somewhere. But that's what I'm kind of thinking it could be for, is some kind of racing event. And if it's in the files right now, we know that they had things up to St. Patrick's Day, so I'd assume that it is after St. Patrick's Day. That said, though, there is also 2 other files in here along with the toxic paints that went in. So I've opened up these 2. This was browser, so there's that one. And
yeah, there's people on both Twitch and YouTube saying that it was sub stuff.
It was sub flare, okay?
Yeah.
Losing that screen. And okay, so it could just be next month's sub flare. That might cover it. So you've got an emerald skin here for St. Patrick's Day for the Pulse, so it's the metallic green, and that. But the other thing, Disco also said we have more things on other than the regular emerald skins. If you watch the live show that had all that stuff in it, at the very end he literally says we'll
yeah, he did.
He talked about why he shaved his face, so he's obviously going to talk about how they scanned his face in the game, and then he talked about we'll also have some other stuff about next month that'll be on the emerald skin. So they're not emerald, they're metallic green, those 2. And I just realized I opened them and you guys couldn't see. I'm a freaking idiot. So yeah, there's a Mustang one and a Pulse one, and they're like metallic green.
But didn't they say that Stella Fortuna starts next week? So we don't have long to wait.
No, we don't have long to wait. Me and Algared were working that out in their head before they even said it, because it's already March, and it was March 12th, didn't you say, Algared?
17.
17. And that's basically, if you look at the math right now, that would... I hate this new calendar, and I want to go to the calendar, but I can't open the calendar in Windows 11. Still getting used to all this shit they changed. Oh god, I don't even know how to open it. I don't even know how to open the calendar anymore. I'll talk it out later.
I think your month's off. Doesn't that say 8/3 down there?
No, that's how everyone else does it. You guys are off.
Yeah.
Because it goes.
Wait, what does it say?
Well, because metrics is day, month, year. You guys do month, day, year. Like idiots. Yeah. We do it all in metric.
Yeah.
Typical American.
Yeah, typical American. Everyone else has to do it the way we want to do it because we're silly. We do it differently. That's fine.
Yeah, just everyone must use Imperial, even though
do it how you want to do it. No problem. Just change it to how you want to do it. Hey, do you know what really tests you? Is when you sit down at someone's computer to use Windows and it's in Taiwanese or Chinese and you still know where all the buttons are because you know it that well. That's a test.
Good for you.
Do that as a test, and then you'll see the Yakunas.
I've actually never seen it written as 03 in the middle. So like I would think that would be just 8.3 and not 8.03.
You can get it. You can do it. You can do 8/3. You can do it any way you want. Like you can
Okay.
actually set it to how you want. Like in Austria, for example, they would write 0803. Don't know
Okay.
why, but they do.
I can see that.
Yeah. So it's almost like military, non-military. It really doesn't matter.
You do that at times in Australia as well. The show that it's
I love how we're talking about something that nobody can actually see on the screen. I've just realized for like the last 2 minutes.
Anyway, last question for the day
Right.
is from Mr. Stunner or Mint Stunner, and they say, so I agree. This switch to stability and quality of life was a planned implementation at the right time, which seems to be now. But why would they communicate it as a change in development philosophy or major change in direction?
Because it sounds better to us in that kind of...
Because, well, it's just letting us know. It's saying to people, hey, we are focusing on, you guys keep telling us it's not working or it's broken, instead of us saying, well, we're going to get there. And we're saying we are focusing on that aspect and planning it up for you.
I think it was damage control. A
little bit.
They were in full out damage control mode when 4.0 didn't hit its delivery date of December 31st. There was a lot of talks, I suspect, at CIG saying, how do we spin this? Which is fine.
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
Yeah, I got no problem, and it didn't really surprise me that they said that, just based on the conversations we had, or conversations I had with people at CitizenCon, and I'm not just, but Star Citizen devs and others. The impression was they wanted to get that quality of life aspect going anyway. So it didn't surprise me. It wasn't oh wow. It was just Anyway, that was our last question.
Okay, I'm just setting it up to raid on 2 things, so just give me a minute. I need to go into this and redirect it.
I would say raid Paul.
He's not on though.
Training.
He's not on.
He's not on yet.
First person I looked for, man. And he's
I figured since he said he was going to go on stream, I figured.
No, I just want to feed his face. I'm the same though when I want to stream. I want to go eat food and stuff before I get started. So,
Yep.
I'm gonna go into this one, I think. No, I'm gonna go into.
I think Paul is live on Twitch because, according to it, he's streaming with Loken right now.
Okay, what's he streaming? Because I cannot.
I think it's both Star Citizen.
So he's not streaming Star Citizen. That would be probably why I can't see him then.
He's doing Supply or Die.
The Astro. He's not coming up under Star Citizen, so he's probably.
Yep.
Oh no, he is. Oh, that's weird. Okay, we will read. We will definitely read Paul.
And Logan.
Yeah. I've just got to. YouTube takes a little longer because I've got to redirect, and it's just being a pain in the butt at the moment. I just got to get into it so I can set it to redirect.
So get to redirect off to Twitch, and we'll say goodbye Twitch and send you guys off.
It's actually YouTube that's the pain in the butt one because you've got to go in and do it all manually and stuff.
But usually send off Twitch first, and
I can
deal with.
I can raid Twitch out.
Oh yeah, Twitch is easy. It's really easy to do. If you want to do Twitch for me, go ahead. I'm just trying to find this one. Redirection, found it.
In which case, everyone say bye Twitch. Thank you for joining us.
Save. That's all good. I can do it. No, I can do it. I got it now. So I got to go back here and do this one. Do this one / raid the Astropub. It was just literally finding that button that says redirect. Lemming used raid. Oh, you've done it. All right. So you'll have to press the button now. Twitch say goodbye to YouTube. YouTube say goodbye to Twitch. Ask Paul lots of questions about the Redeemer. He loves that thing.
Yeah. In fact, ask him which one he'd buy, the Ironclad or the Assault.
Or would he actually now buy a Paladin? Oh, they're gone. He's already sent them off. Right. Okay. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Thank to everyone that went the extra mile on Patreon at the end of the video. Yeah. Same thing on YouTube because you're about to get redirected to Paul as well. So yeah, feel free to send the same things. Thanks for joining us, Lemming. It's been really good
Bye,
having
everyone.
you, man. Yep. He's been Algared.
And he's been executed, and we're out of here. Take care.
See you, citizens.